Okay, so greetings everyone.
Facebook, greetings.
I'm gonna see if some of our members are gonna be joining us. I'm gonna send out the link. So just give me a few moments. Welcome to those who are already watching us.
Yeah, greetings, Fimbo.
So we have a great show planned for you this evening. We're gonna be going over Chief's time as a PC for the Gullah Nation of North America. Hey sis. Okay, we got Nisha. Let me add her in. So we got Sister Antonisha joining. Oh, was she on camera?
How y'all doing?
What's up, sis? How you doing?
Hey,
I'm good.
sis.
How y'all feeling?
Good.
It's hard to hear you.
I know it's like that on this thing. I don't know why. It's been like that. I'm using the headphones. Hey, bro. How y'all doing? Hey, Cheryl.
Hey guys.
I'm going to send this link out. Give me a second, sis. Hold on.
You want me to help out?
Don't talk to the audience while I'm doing this.
Yeah, brother Nathaniel, how you doing, brother? Respect.
Okay, hold on, y'all.
Do y'all have a clear audio on y'all end? Have a clear feedback?
Today marks the 4th year that Chief has been serving as the Paramount Chief for the Gullah Nation of North America. I'm just as surprised as you because he was never supposed to be in this role. So we're going to talk about some of the history. Sister Antonisha is going to be here to support us. I did send out the link, so if any of our other members that's in the group would like to join, you're free to click that link and then I'll let you in.
Yeah.
Oh snap, Baba Rock. Let me go ahead and let him in.
Okay.
Hey Baba. So Cuz is about to join us. Let's see how, yeah, but I have to. Okay, Baba, I see you there, but for whatever reason,
Your camera's not on. Turn your camera on.
can you turn on your camera? If you can hear us. Let's see. I'm new at this, y'all, so just bear with me, please. So, Baba, if you can go out and click that link to come back in, I'll try to go ahead and let you in. Because for whatever reason, you should be blue. After I let you in, you should highlight blue. But, so yeah, so I want to go ahead and start off.
I can't believe it's been 4 years. Wow.
Yeah, it's been 4 years. So, let's see. Sis, I don't know how I'm supposed to.
Okay, we could figure it out.
So you use which link? Did you come into the studio?
No, I didn't. I accepted it on the back end, so I can be in the studio from my phone, but I used that link you gave me.
Okay, you linked the link that I just the link that went through your email.
I did that one through my phone, so when I tried to come back and do it through the desktop, yeah. So are they having trouble getting in?
Yeah, well, I added you as an admin.
Oh, okay.
I added you as an admin through your email. So once you click on there, you should be able to come in and be able to see the settings as I see them.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so what I want to do usually have artists coming on, maybe because maybe he's coming in for another one. That's just for them. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. Baba's having a problem getting on. So what I want to do is just start off by asking Chief to just talk about GNONA. How did you get involved in GNONA? And sis, if you have any questions as we go in, it's not an interview, but it's basically just talking about your history as GNONA, how you can Paramount Chief. Some people that's here in the audience may not be aware of your history, how you joined, or how you became chief. A lot of people meet you as chief.
Right. See, I met you pretty much as becoming chief. So
yeah, I can add to the story because I was there the whole time.
Yeah, but I mean, from the outside in, like I met y'all as he was becoming chief. Remember? So it was like, you know, I got to learn of like the significance of that at the same time of learning the history and everything, which made it, you know, it really magnified things for me. So
okay, say something again, sis. I think I
can you hear me now?
Adjusted my sound. Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess I can start. You want me to just talk about the history?
Well, I mean, I guess I can set it off.
Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, I know this is supposed to be a
like an
honorary thing, whereas those who you know, put me here in this position, those who support me in this position, and are satisfied with my service. You understand? So first, I appreciate people who tuned in. You know, the team, and Felicia, my queen. Just even for, you know, making this happen. But GNONA is not really a long story, but I can try to chop it down a little bit to make it very, very fluid. GNONA was formed in 2015, officially. Myself, Chief Elder Baba Ajamu, Chief Elder Baba Darrow, who will be on the Leone show this Wednesday. Tune in. Representing Orangeburg, South Carolina, where my roots are at. But, you know, of course, we have roots in various counties. Once you learn once you realize you have a Gullah Geechee lineage, you'll find that lineage throughout those counties. It will never just be in one place or just on one plantation. That's not the way they enslaved us, so to speak. You know, they scattered our seeds. And so, Baba Darrow is from St. Helena, and then there was another brother who passed away now. He's a late man, who actually served as our first Paramount Chief, and I'll go into that as well in terms of what a Paramount Chief is and why it's important to honor those who serve in that capacity. But there's a brother named Harold Hillary. Harold Hillary was from Brunswick, Georgia, and he was a direct lineage descendant of Bilal Muhammad and the Sapelo Island family. A lot of people don't know the history of that, but we had a connection simply because, one, I was here, and then two, we both were into family genealogy and things like that. But more than that, he was really fighting for Sapelo Island to have some more recognition, have a louder voice within the community, and things like that towards preservation, promotion, protection of the land, the culture, the families, him being one. And so that really resonated with us. I really felt a connection to that. And that was by Harold Hillary. Between those three, I believe that those three, along with Kenya, and it was a number of people that was around at the time. Brother Kenyatta, down in Tampa, Florida. So we had a scattered group of people, who was organizing around this ideal of what we call now Geechee without borders. Um, the ideal that you can't put borders on Gullah Geechee people. Maybe you can contain where the culture is most prominent, but you cannot put a border on the bloodlines. And so, we strongly believe that, people from different parts strongly believe that. And so we came together and we realized that we needed to form an organization. We needed to form something that represented the ideals that we had. And some of those ideals, just to give you some understanding. For instance, we believe in a form of sovereignty, what people will call sovereignty now. Not in the sense of, ceding from a government or Moorish law or anything like that. Just sovereignty in the pure sense of being birthright members of an ethnic group. That sovereignty, that right that you have to claim your identity, that right that you have to serve your community, that right you have to self-determination. And those are rights that all people in the world have. And it's up to the people to assert them, exercise them or not. And so we wanted to really be assertive about being Gullah Geechee in a way that would not only be legal and legitimate, but will also be empowering, uplifting to our community. And so it wasn't a numbers game. We wasn't really trying to create something to contend with anybody else. We didn't want to create any beefs with anyone else. We genuinely just wanted to be able to assert our own ethnic pride in being who we are. So another thing was that we strongly wanted to build on this relationship with our people in Sierra Leone. It was very key, very important because one, I was here, and initially I was the one making the call for everyone else to come together. And then we came together and made it happen. But I was the one making the calls. Hey, Baba, we can organize ourselves. There's nothing happening here in Sierra Leone related to Gullah Geechees, but when you go to YouTube and you go to Google, there's a whole lot of information there that will lead you to believe that there's this strong relationship between Gullah Geechees and Sierra Leoneans that have been cultivated since I was a kid. And so I was looking for that. Even when I got here in 2013, I was like, man, we are the ones who understand us and that already identify us as them. I was looking for that element here, and it took years, but GNONA came out of that desire to determine for ourselves what we will be doing as a community. And so with that said, in 2015, on July 2nd, we finally, after months of building, I remember the first thing I did, and this was still 2014, I created the Gullah Nation of North America group that everybody is in now on Facebook. If you go check, that's what it's going to say, that I created the group in 2014. So this was 7 months of discussions, of just talking about what we could possibly do, and just assessing everybody's availability, seriousness. Loyalty is a big thing when you're trying to form new groups. And, we came to the conclusion that we would form this community, that we would launch this community. And two of the things that stimulated us to do that, one was all of this was happening within the context of the West African Ebola outbreak of 2014, 2015. I was here. I am a Gullah Geechee descendant that was not born within the U.S. Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor. And I don't know many people or have any connections other than my family who lives there. There.
Right.
And I claim my identity, you know, I'm a Geechee. And that was very difficult for certain people within the corridor, within the community, who know themselves to be able to accept. And I found myself reaching out to people across the water, found myself trying to give voice to what was happening here in Sierra Leone and Guinea. I spent 6 months in Guinea at the time. My Pan-African organization, the organization that I actually came to Africa to expand and to develop, the Black Star Action Network International, we led a campaign. We were leading a campaign. We was in the middle of campaigning, an awareness campaign, raising awareness in the communities where really no voice was getting there around Ebola, and people were taking it playfully, and social media was confusing people. Social media was telling people Ebola wasn't real. All you gotta do is just, you know, fill up on cola, you know, and do this and do that.
Wash with salt.
Yeah, wash with salt.
All kind of crazy
and
stuff.
so people really didn't internalize that people were dying for real, and it was serious. And you know, you really can't assess the seriousness of something from where you're at in the comforts of the West. And so me being a Pan-Africanist, first and foremost, and being an organizer, me, my members here, Kenya, other people in America who had always been around and supporting the work here in Sierra Leone since I've been here, we decided that we was going to launch a campaign to raise awareness. Those in America would spread the word, and those of us here would spread the word. We would spread the word in the communities, and we risked our lives. We went out there spreading the word. You know, the markets could, excuse me, the markets couldn't close.
Right.
The markets don't close because Ebola is there.
And
it's not, they don't have grocery stores here with big parking lots and very, very clean lanes and everything. It's not like that here. It's not like that in most places in Africa. It's open street markets. You know, you buy your food on the side of the street. You know what I'm saying? Buy cucumbers and lettuce and all that on the street, literally. And so just the environment, I could just see how it would be super hazardous. You know, it would exacerbate the problem. And particularly here in Freetown, we have a overcrowding situation. The city is so full of people, and it was never designed for this type of population, for this amount of people. This is why you get incidents like the mudslide that happened a few years ago, where people desperate for land and desperate for, you know, a place to build a home. After the war, people had got displaced. People don't want to leave Freetown anymore, and they don't got money to buy land. So people begin to just build where they can, and you know, it impacts the environment. And the mudslide was one of the results. Just to give you a case in point. So we was reaching out, and it was like to deaf ears, and it was confusing as well because many of the people that we thought would understand, that we thought would have a caring heart, that we thought knew us to be credible and good people, they took the same line that, you know, we're confused. We don't know what Ebola is and this and that, this and that. So we still did our thing. We used music, gathered youth. We went to the radio stations. I recorded music just for Ebola awareness. You know, we walked around communities with bullhorns here and banners here. You know, we were able to reach some of the people that you have to go to in order to reach them. Like, they're not going to follow the radio or what's in the newspapers and all that stuff. You know, they're just going to get it word of mouth and take it at face value. So you got to reach people where they are. And we did a lot of that groundwork in various communities where we had organizers at. and we was blazing the radio here, you know, at that time. Another thing is that we had some outside support as well. I had two significant interviews at that time. I had Leone out of Chicago. He showed love, reached out, was like, man, you know, he lent his platform to us. Then there was Press TV. I think that was with the mudslide, right?
Both of us with the mudslide.
And that was with the mudslide. So we've had people who have extended their platforms at certain times, but at that time it was very, very difficult, y'all.
Very.
For me here, I was here alone. My wife was supposed to get here right before Ebola broke out, and we decided that she could stay and back me up, and I will do what I can here. And when the coast is clear, she can come. That's exactly what happened. Kenya was here 3 weeks after Ebola was zero count. We planned it. We're organizers. We put in the work that we could carry. But in that, it was a lot of disappointment. It was a lot of struggles. And one of them was that we reached out to the Gullah community. And particularly, we reached out to, I ain't gonna say reach out, just a Facebook post, you know. I had made a post saying, you know, am I the only Gullah Geechee, you know, the first repatriate or something? Like, what's going on? Like,
I remember that post.
you know, what's going on? Like, there's a Ebola going on in Sierra Leone. Am I the only one out here? If I'm not, somebody need to plug me with somebody, you know? And I had tagged Chief this Queen Quet. I still have the screenshot saved, and as well as the conversation afterwards. So she responded, and it wasn't like, oh, brother, you know, this or that. It was like, you are not the first repatriate to Sierra Leone. And I was like, huh?
Right.
And I was like, good. You know, that's perfect. That's who I'm looking for. Like, I don't got no beef. I'm just looking for my people so we can kind of do things together out here. And she told me, she said, well, her or whoever was controlling her account, because we've had run-ins, and I don't know if it's her or someone else, but you know, it happened. She told me that there was people here at one time that left, and I was saying, well, that's not a repatriate. That's someone who was living here and then left. I'm looking for people here now. And she told me that there's an organization here called the Sierra Leone Gullah Kinship Association that I should connect with, that they have branches all across the country. And she didn't have no contact, but I could go to the government. Everyone knows them. And I had already know about them. I knew about them before I came. I had them myself. I actually reached out to Kumquat before I got here as well. Just feeling like I had to check in. You know, I was a young buck, 33 years old, a lot of vision. Didn't see any of this coming, you know, but definitely knew that I was a Geechee. I knew the connection to Salone, and I came to work. You know, I didn't come here to play. So I knew that if there was people in this country that knew us and was already organized among themselves, that it would be in my best interest to get with them, you know, to see how best we can work together. I knew that before I got here. So there was never a warm embrace or a, you know, sense of concern that was expressed. And I'll just be honest about it, since this is, you know, an honest moment. It really pissed me off. It pissed me off to the point where I was so confused about how that could happen. I'm educated about the history of Sierra Leone, and I know that during the Civil War here, that spanned from 1991 to 2002, that Gullah Geechee people in the corridor, families, I can name them, welcomed and sheltered and provided refuge to people who was coming from Sierra Leone at that time that were seeking refuge. And so I thought, because of that, that somehow that relationship, that love would still be there in the case of something like Ebola, you know? And so just simply because there was no concern expressed and everything, I was like, wow, That was a crazy experience. I didn't expect that, but it did lead to conversations within the formation of GNONA. It did lead us to believe that there needs to be a community of Gullah Geechees in the United States of America that are able to redeem this relationship that we have with Sierra Leoneans directly. No middleman, no government, us coming here to meet our people, them in America going to the low country, wherever we are in America, meeting with us and us just being family again. You understand? Like that's always been the goal of all of this. And so it was very discouraging. I said I was pissed, but I should say I was hurt. Because of what was happening all around me and just the way it felt at the time. So I remember expressing it to Baba Ajamu and others, and it was like, man, don't worry about the young buck. They was just trying to give me some courage. And, we just continued to build our Facebook group and do our campaign here under Pisani. And then in June, you had the AME massacre in Charleston. And like I said, I'm a genealogist. You understand? I'm always studying lineages and seeing how they connect and things like that. And I've seen several surnames of the victims that match my family tree. And I was like, I don't know if they're exact lineage, but the surname is the surname, And I just felt it like, dang, I could have been a family, that could have been brothers that Darling Roof just smoked, And just all of what was happening here, having the back slap, and then also just the feeling of that. And I was really waiting to see what was going to happen. Like I guess my militant mind told me that Charleston was going to erupt. I guess my militant mind told me that the Gullah Geechee community was going to be on fire. You understand? And it just didn't happen in the way that I see it, or those who were in our circle. And so we was just like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and form our organization. Let's take it from this little Facebook group and a few people talking about it, us doing these studies and stuff like that, and reaching out to other people. Let's just honor our ancestors, claim our identity, exercise our sovereignty, form our unincorporated association of individuals, and then start there. And that's what we did. And we sealed it with a constitution that was modeled after the Sierra Leonean traditional chiefdom model. So we do have a chief, we have a paramount chief. We do have chief elders. We have elders who are chiefs that provide guidance, counsel. They also mediate, on behalf of us when we have problems among ourselves or if we have problems between us and other groups, and it happens. So don't be discouraged by that. A lot of the greatest unions and peace comes from those first interactions between old groups and new groups. And so we formed a group. I coined the term Gullah Nation of North America. I think I made a mistake in using the name Nation because it became the reason why we were immediately opposed by the Gullah Geechee Nation.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Are Gullah people not a nation?
I'm not saying that. Listen,
okay.
I'm not arguing that. I named it, so I understand. You don't have to teach me.
Yeah, but I was just trying to be clear.
But what I'm saying is that we named it, and then we built on it, and then we accepted that name as a collective. And for us, we had various ways to understand that term nation. And one of the ways to understand the term nation as we was using it is that, we went back to etymology. Or what does nation mean? Right. Where does it come from? And nation comes from a Greek word called nation. The word nation means blood. It doesn't mean citizenship. It doesn't mean birthplace. It means blood. So understanding that, and then understanding that there's two laws of citizenship. One is jus sanguinis, and another one is jus soli. And jus sanguinis is nationhood by blood. It means you're born into your nationality. Mm-hmm. And ethnicity can't be nationality if it's organized like such. And so you have jus soli, which is citizenship by birthland, birthplace. And so some people who are born in Sierra Leone, they are citizens by jus soli and jus sanguinis. But there's Sierra Leonean people who are born in America, and because they're born there, they become American citizens. So their jus soli is the United States of America, where they get citizenship through. But their jus sanguinis, their nationality by blood, would still be where their ancestors came from. Right. Meaning they still would be able to say, I'm a Sierra Leonean American, no matter how many generations later they have. So if a Sierra Leonean leaves here today, goes to America, has some babies, and then 10 generations later, they're based on a Sierra Leonean ancestor, just like many of us over there that don't know it. You understand? And so when we understand what all we meant within nation,
right? I
don't think that other people mean that,
right,
in nation. So we identified that all Gullah Geechee people belong to a single group and share a common nationality as an ethnicity. That which makes us distinct in the world among all other people, black, white, all other races, all other nations. And it gives us our distinction within, so that people understand that we're Africans too. You understand? So we take so much pride in being Gullah Geechees. And we didn't put Gullah Geechee Nation of North America because we wanted to respect the fact that there's already Gullah/Geechee Nation. We wanted to respect that there's already a chiefess by the name of Queen Quet, not a queen, a chiefess by the name of Queen Quet that was duly elected and appointed by her group of Gullah Geechee people. Not us, not my mama, not my cousins and them. Mm-hmm. And we respect that because we believe that all Gullah Geechee people have a right to form their own communities. Originally, our ancestors were divided into plantation communities. Right. Originally. And every community had its leaders. Every community had its structure, its men and its women, and could be accounted for within the collective. And so it's the same way that African chiefdoms are organized, the same way that traditional African society was organized before the European came here. One, based on family, based on lineage, which is how we claim our identity of being Gullah Geechees. Those who are members of the Gullah Nation of North America, unless they're honoraries, and an honorary is someone who plays a significant role within the organization as someone who may not be a Gullah Geechee, but they're 100% down with the cause that we represent. But all of us, we can verify through documentation that we descend from Gullah Geechee ancestry. And we have those born in Chicago, those born in Pennsylvania, those born in New York, those born in Orangeburg, those born on St. Helena, those born in Brunswick. So it's a diverse group of us. We're not discriminating on where you were born. We're saying that if you can show us that you definitely have a lineage that goes back to the Gullah Geechee people, Welcome home, brother. Welcome home, sister. This is a community ideal and model that we've been developing for years. And if you would like to be a part of something like that, you are free, literally, to join us. To join is free. To stay in good standing may require some dues. You understand. But you will be among Gullah Geechee people, reuniting with those of us who are doing our genealogical studies, reuniting with those of us who are already reconnected to the continent and doing significant work here through our international mission. And so that's what we really formed ourselves to be, not to pretend with other people, not to, say that because we chose a traditional African model and that we titled our leader a paramount chief, like Africans do here. Mm-hmm. And the Mende group is an ethnic group, but they have many paramount chiefs.
Yes.
There's not just one paramount chief. Mm-hmm. There's not one chief for any ethnicity in Africa. And if anybody tells you that, they are lying to you. Yeah. So why should there only be one chief for the Gullah Geechee people?
Right, we Africans.
Chief or chiefess. I mean, mm-hmm. Each of us are representing our communities, and our communities are putting us in these positions because we believe in the chieftaincy model. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that we have to contend. You understand? What it means is that each community has to be about the work that they form themselves to be. And that's one thing that we've done ever since we formed ourselves 7 years ago. We kicked off with appointing, we had a vote, and we elected our first paramount chief, Harold Hillary, because honestly, he was doing a lot of work at that time to bring recognition to our ideals. And we really felt comfortable with having someone from the corridor that had the energy to push a cause, that has some, that has some lineage credibility as well. Someone tied to the land, tied to the history, tied to the heritage, that felt the same way as we felt in terms of including those of us who aren't down there right now or from down there, born down there, but we the bloodline. So, and he seen that vision, and we appreciated that he at least seen that vision and that he was positioned in Georgia. A lot of times you hear about Gullah Geechee, and it's always centered on South Carolina. Yeah. And I'm a South Carolina Geechee. But Georgia, Florida, as well as North Carolina are equally Gullah Geechee communities. There is no superiority for Gullah Geechees in one state or one low country or one island than the other. That has never been our way. That has never been our way, y'all. That's never been the way we are. It's never been our history. Never been our culture. That's innovation. And so we just chose to take the chieftaincy model. Me being here, me being adopted by the Mansaray clan of Balandugu section, Bonia village here in Sierra Leone in 2015. It assisted me in being able to understand the chieftaincy system. It assisted me in being able to understand what chiefs are. Like, I know chiefs. They normal people like us, y'all. They cool. They got problems. They ain't perfect. They real down to earth. They got to make sure they know everybody. They got to keep a smile on their face even in the hard times. They are the rocks, man or woman. I've seen women chiefs here as well, and they all play that role. You understand? It's a role. It's a position in the community. And what they say here is one word.
Yes.
After everybody talk, the person with that one word, that last word,
final say,
that's the chief. And so I learned how they operate. I learned how they structure themselves. Every chiefdom is headed by a paramount chief. And then under the paramount chief, you have sectional chiefs. So a chiefdom is a territory. And on that territory, they have a paramount chief. And from under that paramount chief, he has sectional chiefs that assist him with the governance of the chiefdom. So they had certain sections. And then with every section, you have any number of villages, 5 to 15, 20 villages, depending on the size of the chiefdom. And in every chief, every village, you have a local chief, or what some people will call a headman. You know, somebody who's responsible from the founding families in that village. And so they have this dynamic structure that's not based on racism or based on Western political ideals, but based on the African family model, because it's by lineage. You become chief by lineage. It's through your lineage connection that you could become a chief here. It's through blood. And so there you go again with the juice sanguinis, the nationality by blood. Even here, the rights by blood. And me and my cousin Roderick, we was just reading about our own family being formerly owned, enslaved by the South Carolina aristocracy. You know,
What is aristocracy?
aristocracy is the elites. You know, back in those days in South Carolina, you had the aristocrats. You know, they were like the nobility. They had big plantations. They owned a whole bunch of land, and they owned a whole bunch of our ancestors too. And some of those ancestors took their names. And so in a lot of them counties down south, you'll find that there's white Williams and black Williams, white Jamesons and black Jamesons, white Cleckleys and black Cleckleys, like in Orangeburg. And so we've been analyzing the history of this and understanding that our families were owned by a group of families that were aristocrats and they were Confederates. And that one of them, David Flavel Jameson, was the president of the South Carolina secession. He was the booker, the white man out of all white men ever that succeeded from the United States of America first. You understand? And he owned our ancestors too. His family owned us. Burwood Plantation, Woodland Plantation. Yes. So we've been doing the research to understand who we are, not only as lineages, but also as a extended family, as people who have been sharing this common experience for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. So when we talk about bringing our families back, talking about building this Gullah nation, we're talking about building this bloodline, building these lineages back. We're not talking about chasing no federal grants. You understand? And so that's what all of this has always been about. So we've been doing that research to, to make them connections, to make sure that we understand.
Yeah.
And then as we learn this for ourselves about our families, we're also assisting other people in their families to do the same thing. So we're not a lazy group of people just saying we're Gullah Geechees just to get a thrill out of people. You understand? We're really sincere and genuine about our work. And so from there, we formed ourselves on July 2nd officially. We held a meeting, and out of that meeting came a public announcement where we said, this is who we are. A few days later, the first Paramount chief, Hal Hillary, reached out to the Gullah Geechee Nation saying who we are and invited her into our social media group, our private group, and a fight broke out. She immediately came in disrespecting us. Why y'all using that name? There's only one queen. And we was like, wow, that's not what we intended. We really expected welcome. I'm glad that other Gullah Geechee people are organizing in this way. Wow, this is impressive. But it wasn't that. It was taken as an affrontation. And we never were seeking to usurp anyone about anything. Our whole thing was to build our community up and reunite our lineages, not only in America, but back with our families in Africa, particularly here in Sierra Leone, where the relationship has been strong since at least 1988, when the president of this country went to South Carolina, first Orangeburg, my neck of the woods, and then down St. Helena, down the Penn Center, and met with elders when I was only 10 years old, 9, 10 years old. So I can't claim to be, a low country Geechee like everybody else would say because they from there. But I can say that by my blood and by my nurturing, my upbringing, my family, the way I was raised, that I've always felt strongly about the identity. And so I felt like everyone who came together all felt that same way. Some people were still on their path of even discovering their roots. You understand? And they still agreed with helping this community exist. And so we started a radio program. After that, we said, bump it, I see we're going to have some problems just promoting ourselves, just by existing. Baba Howard kicked off with a radio program. I think it was every week. He was doing things like genealogy. I was on the show once and things like that. And we were really just trying to be a bridge. So long story short, 2 weeks after we founded, as we first launched on July 2nd, 2015, on July 17th, 2015, we launched the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone, originally called the Sierra Leone Gullah Redemption Mission, now called the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone, and now incorporated as a non-profit company here in Sierra Leone. We service communities all across this country. And so it was a mission that I created as the international ambassador for the Gullah Nation of North America. So just to back it up, yes, I made the initial call. I coined the name of the organization, of the community, but I first served as an international ambassador, and it was more appropriate and most respectful, and I believe most effective at the time to have an elder living within the corridor, like Baba Harold Hillary, or even it could have been Baba Darrow, to head the nation, to head the community at the time. So it made perfect sense then. And I was assigned international ambassador because I was already here. And so I kicked off the redemption mission as the mission, of my diplomacy. And it grew into what it is now. So after that, we continued to do our work, continued to recruit people, continued to build our group and things like that, continued to deal with, smear campaigns, attacks, and all kinds of things that really was never provoked. And then Baba Harold Hillary died. Our first Paramount chief dies. When he dies, according to our Constitution, we have to put in a temporary Paramount chief. So we put in the brother Baba Ajamu Mansaray, Orangeburg, and he stepped up and he held it down for about 5 months. And during that 5 months, we was like trying to figure out what we was going to do and who we was going to position and how we was going to continue, with the Paramount chief going now. And so we decided to put a sister named Giovanni Richardson from, I believe, St. James Island. We put her there. And we put her there because she was functioning as the Minister of Commerce and Trade under Baba Harold Hillary. And he and she were building a relationship, and they was pretty fond of each other. And me being international ambassador, I was already working with her because we were trying to figure out the commercial exchange, and she would be asking information about that. And, we just felt like, let's keep it in the corridor. Let's not take it and move it to Atlanta where Baba Ajamu was at. Take it over here or just anything like that. Let's just, if she's willing to serve in this capacity, she understands the role and the responsibilities, then, we're not sexist. We don't mind, our head, our leader being a woman. We don't mind it being a chiefess. You understand? So we went that way. And early on, it was pretty dope. She had some good energy. But ultimately, there was some complications. There was some problems, maybe about 7 months in. And it came in the form of registration. Where was we going to go now with this unincorporated association that we have gained members of, We had launched our brand. We had launched our organization. We was even engaged in struggles, but we had not yet gone into the incorporation of a nonprofit status. And today we're a nonprofit 501c3 organization. But then we were still in an unincorporated association status. All liability would have been on us as individuals, but we were perfectly within our legal and our rights to be organizing as such. And so we wanted to put some legality there. And I guess her being the first, the second Paramount chief, she was wanting to move fast. And there was some strains in communication, even with us here in Sierra Leone, being able to communicate very, a lot with her and the other people. Her and one of the elders, a sister named Bonnie. No, was it? Yeah, Bonnie. They're twins. That's why I'm confused. Identical twins. But they're both elders within the GNONA as well. But one was serving as the secretary, and she relayed messages to the rest of us, to the high executive council. There was discussions happening outside of the meetings that we were having between her and this Paramount chief, Giovanni, about steps that they were supposed to take independently to register the Gullah Nation of North America, and we seen that as treason.
Also the amending of the Constitution.
The amending of the Constitution, no one else was involved, and we're very strict about democracy. We're very strict about making sure that people have a voice within our community. We rule by consensus. We don't rule by majority rules, minority rules. No, we rule by consensus. We actually discuss until we all agree with the action that we take, or we don't take it right away. And we have dynamic elders who are always there to advise us, and they have various backgrounds, and so it's a dynamic community to belong to today. But these are the early years that I'm telling you about, where we were struggling, we was really pushing. So what happened was we had a General Assembly meeting. The elders came together and we decided that we needed to get clarity on what was going on with Sister Giovanni. And like most people who get confronted for something that they may or may not have done, she got offended. Yeah. And with her getting offended, it got turned into insults and disrespect, and we just got exhausted. We got frustrated with trying to amend it peacefully, and she was moved. She was removed from the organization, and she was sacked from being the Paramount chief. So we lost the first Paramount chief to death. There were some things going on with him as well, even before he died. Yeah. And then Giovanni, our second attempt. So we was, needless to say, very discouraged, because now what's going to happen? Right. Because we tried again in the corridor, and this time with a sister that we actually trusted. And then this happened behind us, and now we have to be the bad guys by cleaning house. Right. And so we had a General Assembly meeting. We brought everybody together who was with us at the time, who had voting power. And we decided, what are we going to do? Are we going to put another temporary chief until we find someone who fits the model within the corridor? Or are we going to just try to move ahead and buy ourselves some time? But let's not just rush to put someone in leadership. And what happened at that meeting was that I was unanimously chosen.
Can I talk about this
to
part?
be the Paramount chief, the third Paramount chief. So Kenya can talk about
Okay, because just so you guys can understand, this has been a doozy. If you weren't there, you wouldn't really believe how everything happened. But as he stated, we found out some things. The elder stepped forward that was actually working with her as a secretary to kind of get things in order so that we can go along with the process, as Chief said, to actually incorporate. At that time, we were operating as a community, as an unassociated incorporation. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, unincorporated
association. So it was an unincorporated association that we were legally operating within, and so we wanted to go ahead and legally register. So at that time, a lot was going on. We were trying to figure out how we were going to do it. We were having meetings. And when the elders stepped forward, like, hey, let me just tell y'all, I've been working with her, and she's been trying to have me do some things that y'all aren't aware of. So from there, we like, wait, hold on. Of course, we're in an open group. Everybody can see what's happening. It was presented what was happening, and we like, hey, she was denying it, going around it, throwing insults. It was just some crazy stuff that went on for like 24 hours to the point we're like, wait, majority of the people in the group are elders, y'all, mind you. Myself, Chief, Giovanni, and I think Kenyatta was like the youngest ones in the group. Everybody else were like 50, 60. They were up there. So to have that happening in front of elders and people were leaving like, oh my God, this is some crazy stuff, not really understanding what was happening, because, and come to find out, I don't know if she had some diagnosed issues, but yeah, she had to go. After she was removed, she continued. She kept continuing using the name like 2 years later. It's some craziness, y'all. People really got some issues with them. I mean, if you really about that life, like create your own stuff.
It's not only just her.
No, it's a whole lot of different.
It's not only just her because
you want to talk about that?
Harold Hillary,
yes,
our first Paramount chief.
Yeah.
He had the same mentality almost.
So it was like they were probably in cahoots with this other behind our back.
Yeah, we had no idea.
We didn't know.
Was just doing the work faithfully.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is that even when Harold died, he had split from us, but was still behaving like he was the man.
He was still go to the nation of North America.
The people that he was working with, he was telling them lies about how we came about.
Yep.
He was saying that he founded the Gullah Nation of North America. He was recruited. I'm the only person who was never recruited to the Gullah Nation of North America because I founded it.
Right.
And that's just something that we all know.
I mean, it's public.
That's just something that we all know, but the people in the corridor didn't know.
Right.
So they took him at face value.
Right.
And what happened was that he was working with a man named Chief Lazaro Langley.
That's how we even.
Some people would know him. Some people would not. But I don't have any reason to lie.
Yeah.
He was the brother who reached out and allowed for Harold to have a radio show on his platform, Blog Talk. And so they were friends. I believe they both were former military, and they were friends differently than what we had a relationship with Harold. And they had ideals that was not the ideals of GNONA, but I felt that Harold was going to try to use GNONA to fulfill, and it didn't really have anything to do with what the reason why we formed ourselves together. So there were things that happened, like before I got on the radio show, was promoted, and then all of a sudden there was the night before I was supposed to be on the radio show, there was a quote-unquote mysterious, unidentified old lady who reached out to Paramount Chief Harold Hillary and had links saying that I was a man named Foday Mansaray who was wanted by the FBI for fraud in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, and in Delaware. And he sent it to me. But then he sent it to me, hey, bro, what is this? This can't be you because you're Foday Ajamu Mansaray. And I met you as Ajamu Bandeli. I met you before your name changed. I met you before you was adopted.
Right.
And so he didn't do that.
Right.
He just jumped out and said, you want to tell me about this? And I was like, what is this? And it threw me back. I said, whoa.
It's a link. Now, we're in Africa, right?
So I'm like, whoa, what is this? And I tell him, I said, hold on, bro.
No, you said, what is it? Because we can open the link.
I can open the link. And then he was like, well, this is saying that you are on the run for child tax fraud or something like that, living in Africa, but that you're not no Geechee, you're a Sierra Leonean, and your name is Foday Mansaray. And so whoever this old mysterious old lady was had sent this frivolous information to the first Paramount chief a day before I was supposed to get on the radio and talk about what the Gullah Nation of North America is. Because he had a hard time explaining it to people because he was not the founder. And so it was all about getting me on there. And so that night before, me and him had a big confrontation. And I was telling him, I said, brother, don't disrespect me like that. Did you meet me as Foday Mansaray? Did you meet me as Ajamu? Did you not witness my homecoming? Did you not witness me receive the name Foday Mansaray?
Sharing it all over the place.
And so it was the craziest thing that he did that. And then what happened was that we did our own research, like, who is these people? And it was completely unrelated to anything I could have ever been a part of.
Can I talk about it? So the case had to do with some Sierra Leoneans. Now, those of you who know Africans, anywhere in Africa, a lot of the names are shared across the board. You might have 10,000 Mohammed Torres. You know what I'm saying? You might have 500 something Corona. It's just how it is. It's a whole lot of Foday Mansaray. But the thing about it was, the weirdest part about it for us was that Harold met him as a Ajamu Bandeli. And a year and a half before this happened. So we was like, wait, is
not only that, I met Harold because my mother died.
Yeah, talk about it.
My mother died, and I reached out on Facebook and said, yo, if anybody can help me with some communication, my mother is still near. Yeah, I feel her.
I wanna.
And this man jumped into my inbox.
Like, hey, I got somebody.
Like, yo, I know somebody who can help you out, and he directed me to somebody. So that's how I met Harold Hillary.
Right.
My mother died, and the next day I met this man because I reached out for some spiritual consultation.
This was 2014 now.
2014.
Now, this happened in 2016, late 2016.
So, mind you, this man knows
2
me.
years later.
This man knows me. My mother died, and that's how I met him.
2 years
so
later.
He knows that I'm not a Foday Mansaray from Sierra Leone. But he approaches me like, what you hiding?
Yeah.
And again, I would say I was more hurt than anything. Because I hadn't seen that coming.
Yeah.
Especially not from him. Because he had a good cap game. He had a good Pan-African game. He could talk real good. You were like, yeah, this is a good elder. But talk is not character. And what happened is that this brother, I had to explain to him, like, who is she? Tell me who she is so I can confront her. And he wouldn't do it.
Right.
He said, don't worry about it. It's a student. Don't worry about it. I said, okay. I left it at that. That's okay. I said, what's more important is that these people hear my voice tomorrow. So I did the interview. He jumped in. Oh, man, Simba. He used to call me Simba, Lion King. Oh, Simba, you did it. This, that. And from there, he tried to, like, veer off of it. And then we accepted somebody through him here. Somebody who was an African ancestry DNA tester, seeking to come back.
We didn't know
the guy. We didn't know the history. We didn't know the relationship between him and Chief Langley. We didn't know the relationship that Chief Langley or Foday Kunda had with themselves. We didn't know any of that. I'm international ambassador. This is my wife. We're over here organizing.
We're Pan-African.
We're Pan-Africans representing Gullah Geechee people. So we don't know who they are, but we're on call. You know, if you call us and say, hey, such and such is coming. These are our people. Okay, we're going to open up our doors. Even if we ain't got nothing to offer you, you still want to have a roof with us.
Right.
And so what happened was that Harold introduced me to someone named Foday Kunda a few months before he got here. Kenya came December 2015. We met this brother maybe around...
September 2006? When the first introduction.
May. It was May 2015 we first introduced. And the brother came with high recommendations. You know, like I said, Harold was our chief. You know, I was honoring, we was being honorable. And he was like, yeah, you know, we being hospitable. Me and the brother started talking. I was impressed. I was impressed with his knowledge of Sierra Leone, that he had a lot of interest in being connected. I'm like, wow, man, that's dope. You know, it's not every day you meet somebody who actually want to be connected to Sierra Leone. And I know your people. I know Timmy people. I'm close to them. First village I ever went to, first people ever sent me home was Tiffany people. even though I'm not a Tini descendant. They accepted me there. And it was because of Pan-African work that I had done with the community for years before that. It wasn't because I had to have a welcome. So I don't want to make it like only Tinis can go to Tinis. It's not like that. And so, long story short, the brother came. He came that September. Before he came, conversations began to go around citizenship, and it's something they kept. I've been here since 2013. So we were talking about citizenship, like all the different dynamics. First of all, we knew that Isaiah Washington got citizenship here, based off of African ancestry DNA.
Right.
And maybe some people didn't see it, but we saw it.
Right.
It was like, wow, that is so great. And just imagine if other normal people would be able to do the same thing. And we felt as if it was something that started, but it wasn't the end of it. The end who started it didn't have an interest in that just being the end of it. But it wasn't a discussion. There were so many other issues going on in the country. We just came out of Ebola and things like that. So we wanted to at least have the conversation. And just to piggyback, we was also told before to go to the government for this Gullah, this Sierra Leone Gullah Kinship Association.
Right.
And since the brother was coming, he was an African ancestry DNA tester. We wanted to be able to go initiate that conversation so that door is open when he gets there. And we went in August. We met with the chair. At the time, it was the chairperson for the Sierra Leone Monuments and Relics Commission. Her name is Isa Smith. She's no longer there now, but she was there then, and she's a very strong cultural heritage, preservationist. She's done a lot of work in this country to even get it to the point where we're able to come back and have a semblance of, culture preserved. So I'm not dissing these people. I'm just telling you how things happen. You understand?
You can't tell the story.
I have to tell the story so people out there can know. Antonisha, she asked a loaded question, and I'm going to full clip. So after that, of course, he came here, and he came through GNONA. He came through the Paramount chief. I didn't know him. It wasn't personal. So me and Kenya booked the appointment, went and met the chairwoman, the chairperson. She was like, "Yo, that is a great idea, and I think that it will help Sierra Leone develop. Y'all are diaspora." And in the conversation, we was telling her, "I'm not a DNA tester. I'm a Gullah Geechee.
They know about us.
You know what I'm saying? I have relatives who have taken DNA, who can tell me parts of who I am because we share the same lineage. I don't need to take a DNA test because I have relatives who've taken it, but I also have ancestral tradition of being a Mandingo, and I know I'm a Gullah Geechee, and I know the connection of Gullah Geechees to Sierra Leone. Not a one way. Not only did some of our ancestors come from here, but many of us returned and founded Freetown. And so when you understand that two-way connection to Sierra Leone, you will realize that Gullah Geechees have a very special relationship to Sierra Leone, not by blood, but also by culture and heritage. And so that is the distinction that we have with this particular country. And so understanding that, she was able to say, yes, well, you've been here for years already. Gullah Geechees, they are people. They've been coming since the 80s, They are kinfolk. Right. And so having that understanding encouraged us to bring this brother to as well, because we had a conversation, and part of the conversation was about, Isaiah Washington. What's up with Isaiah Washington? Because we went in there as Sierra Leonean Americans. We went in there as people who may have DNA, may not have DNA, but we relate to Sierra Leone. And we was welcome. And we was told that something like that was even discussed before. That, okay, Isaiah Washington came, but what we going to do for the rest? And so it was not like we are the pioneers of the ideal. But what happened was that previous to us, there was no other people who had gone to them for that discussion since Isaiah Washington had obtained his citizenship that came from us, that
was
came
more
from
than
the
10 years
diaspora.
before.
Maybe among themselves as Sierra Leoneans, they were having discussions. But among Sierra Leonean American diaspora, among us, none of us had come here and opened that discussion directly with the Sierra Leone Monuments and Relics Commission. And some people don't want to give us credit for that, but it's just the absolute truth.
Yeah.
After that, a few weeks after that, Foday Ajamu came. When he came during his trip here, me and my wife were able to connect him to the Conte family in Fort Mile, to the chairperson of the Black Star Action Network International, our Pan-African organization that I came here to build since 2013. So it was an organizational connection.
Right.
A chairman in my organization who was married to a Timney who originally took me there,
right,
that I felt it was safe to take this brother,
right,
who needed to be welcomed by good people, like I welcomed by good people.
Yeah, because you had an existing relationship for years with that person.
Yeah,
so,
and so we went there, and the brother is a Conte today because I took him there. Although some people won't say that, there's other people who he's come with, dozens. And some of them have the name and they have the clan and they're related to them people now. And they wouldn't have been if me and my wife didn't decide to bring our chairman into the equation and go to that place with those people. A lot of history in Syria has been made in the last 6-7 years by the African diaspora would not have been made in that place. Mm-hmm. Maybe somewhere else, maybe we would have took the brother somewhere else. But it was our decision to where we would take him. Mm-hmm. That needs to be understood. So we also
it was discussed and planned for months before he came.
For months ahead,
yeah,
we planned.
So it wasn't like
those out there who know us, those who have come to our passage, you know that after you meet us, it's a daily interaction. It's ongoing until we understand how best we can make your trip successful for you. It's never about how much money we're gonna get from you or how much money you're making or this or that. We don't bend. We're very serious about what we're doing. And we gave that brother the same respect. So we understood what he wanted to accomplish, but I feel like a lot of it was not disclosed. Mm-hmm. It wasn't disclosed up front. Yeah. And that's just the reality of it. So we went there with him now, the second time. But Isatu Smith wasn't there. She had been, I believe she left the country.
Yeah, she was out of the country.
And she left one of her interns, who is now, education coordinator?
I'm not sure what the...
Brother Francis Momo and Brother Mohammed Karbo. Those two brothers, they're very, very dynamic with the Salon Monuments and Relics Commission now. But back then, I know at least for Francis Momo, who took me to Bunce Island on my first trip there. Took Kenya her first trip there, and took many of our people to their first trips to Bunce Island. This is a dynamic brother as well. He's all over the place. He works with all of us indiscriminately. And so we met him as an intern, and we sat down with him, and they knew we were coming because we had planned it.
Yeah.
We sat down with him. We sat down with the chairman, the former chairman, Saf Amanda, Foday Ajamu, myself, and Kenya with those two individuals, and we met in the office, and we sat at a big old table, penned the papers out, and we discussed.
Criteria, how we should go about it.
And what we was told was that we would be seeking to be accepted as if our parents were born in Sierra Leone and we were born in America, that we would get that first class citizenship via having that connection. And so that's what put lights on. I know, wow, that's great.
Sierra Leone Americans.
Sierra Leone Americans. Now, at the time, Gullah Geechee's at the table. Now, me and Kenya there, we're the ones who set the meeting up.
Right.
And so.
And Gullah Geechees are the first Sierra Leonean Americans.
Exactly. And so, the thing about it is that over time, that changed. Over time, the group that was coming with the ancestry test kind of went their own way and centered around the village that we took the first one to. And we somehow got excluded from any citizenship talk, and things were happening that we didn't know about. And then when we did find out, it was in the middle of a tour that we were having with them, believing that they were not pursuing a process that we didn't know about. And it even caused a street argument. You understand? Here in Freetown. And so I won't say bad blood ain't there. You know, there was expectations of loyalty and respect. But
Or
honesty, you know, we've been very upfront and transparent. And we didn't feel like that was reciprocated.
Exactly. It was like manipulation.
Yeah. So with that, we just felt like we didn't have a reason to fight anybody or beef anybody. You know, very, very early on, me and Kenya was worried about who we embraced there, because we didn't want to bring a predator here. We didn't want to bring a bad person here and connect them with our peoples. Right. We wanted to be responsible about that. And so I remember me and her having a conversation, and me saying, man, look, if the brother's good, if the brother's bad, it don't matter. And we're not thinking about him. We think about the people that can come behind him. We think about their children. We're not thinking about one person. Let's think about the whole collective. And that ultimately is why we even said, yeah, you can come to us. And he came to our house. He didn't go to a hotel. You understand? So it was that. And he left. Well, I still have his application. He left as a member of the Black Star Action Network International, which was a CBO here in Freetown that Sa Fernanda was the chairman of, and I was the international coordinator of, that I founded in 2009 in America. And so just to help people out there understand how GNONA kind of evolved and went through stages, Foday and Chief Langley that was doing the show for Harold are very close friends. They were just here in April together. In that village together that I haven't been in for years because the breakdown of the relationship. And the people in the village feeling like, you know, if I got a problem with anything going on with that brother right there, then it shouldn't interact with any development that's coming to them. And I agree. So we stepped away. We didn't beef nobody, but we stepped away. Out of respect for them people, we stepped away. And so there's been so much fights and bickering and things going on behind my back that gets back to me that, again,
we don't even be
that we
about.
have nothing, we don't know anything about.
We know these people.
But anyway, later on, I was invited to be part of a project that was by Chief Langley. I believe it was in like after Foday left. Foday went back to America, and maybe early October, Chief Langley, me and him talked a few times. He had been around for a while, but me and him had never really talked. He was Harold's homie. And so I respected him, but I didn't know him. And we talked a few times. I heard about his military background and, you know, the development work that he's done with military grants in Iraq and countries, former war-torn countries and stuff like that. And he wanted to do something similar here in Sierra Leone and wanted me to be involved in like ideas, you know, gather data or whatever you think that might be. But I wasn't with it because I just wasn't with it. It was against my principles as a Pan-Africanist to move like that. And so I didn't see the project being feasible or it being feasible with me being involved or us being connected to that project. Immediately after that, relationships between me and Harold Hillary started getting shaky. I wouldn't hear from him for 2 weeks. You know, when I did hear from him, real short, and that was very strange, man, because me and Harold was every day, all day, online, inbox, you know, something, you know, talking. He was my, you know, I would always reach out to him. I respected him in his position. And I didn't do anything that I didn't run by him first. So, you know, I felt like me saying no to him must have had some kind of consequence for Harold, because Harold seemed pissed off at me because I didn't bite. I didn't take it. And he didn't say anything to me. He just kind of ghosted me. He started spacing me. Now, mind you, I'm the international ambassador.
And the founder.
I founded this group. You understand? And so I remember I get it. It was New Year's, and I got sick. I got very, very sick. I had to be hospitalized. And within that, we was reaching out to him and other people. Was like, yo, I'm sick. I need help. I really need help. Can you make a call to get me some medical treatment? And he was watching the post and not replying and this and that. And out of nowhere, one of those repatriation scam attacks happens. People who are African Americans, and if I show you the photo of how sick I was, you might cry. People who are African Americans that were living in other countries started saying, that nigga ain't sick, he's scamming. He's scamming. I was on my deathbed, y'all.
He literally stopped breathing in my arms twice.
And
that's the only reason I made it public.
And so so by the time I got better and got out of the hospital, Harold still hadn't reached me. So I reached out to him and was like, yo, man, what's up? Mm-hmm. And when I reached out to him, it was because me and Kenya was defending ourselves from these attacks from these other repatriates.
For the same article. And
so from the same article, from the same fake Foday Mansaray claim that's me. And mind you, that man has served his 6 years, has been released already, is right now on federal parole in the United States of America. I am not him. He served his time. It was complete identity bullshit.
Okay, let me just say this, because I'm digging into the case just to understand it. So this man was working for like child protective services, like with vulnerable children. So he worked for an agency where he had access to a lot of children's information. So what they were doing was using taxes, filing these kids' information on tax forms for it was an investigation from 2008, and they finally got busted or came and indicted them. It was a whole group of different Sierra Leoneans. All of them had Sierra Leonean names, about 8. And so they, from 2008 to 2014, they investigated them, gathered all the information, and did a whole indictment. Now, at this time, this is 2014, Ebola hit. The dude go to jail in 2014, July. I just had to understand, how y'all trying to confuse this? So, dude went to jail in 2014, July. We here in August launching the Ebola They've been being campaign, because Ebola was full-fledged and everybody, it was a war here. Everybody was dying. The whole country was locked down. In the midst of that, and then he lost his mom. He lost his mom maybe, I want to say, a few days. Y'all did the interview a few days before, and then his mom passed away.
No, we did the interview the next year.
No. I'm talking about when we first launched the campaign. That was August.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
We had did that interview the 8th year. Mama passed on the 14th.
You're correct.
So it was and he wasn't even Foday Ajamu Mansaray at that time. He officially became that July 2015. And Harold was there the whole time. It was the weirdest shit. So we was thinking okay, Harold, somebody threw you the same article. You met him as this. So go ahead, clear it up. Go on the post. You are chief.
Yes. And so basically what happens is that even while we're having this, even while we're in this crisis where I'm fighting for my life, that same accusation pops up.
Because somebody Googled.
And so instead of getting the support that I need
from our chief,
we're fighting, social media fighting for our names. And the chief is missing in action. So by the time we talked, he got upset with me and called himself kicking me out of my own thing. And
crazy.
And what happened was that, of course, he can't do that.
How?
Secondly, he went ghost. He blocked me, all this other stuff. After doing that, he announced on Facebook that I've been removed from the Gullah Nation of North America, my own thing that I recruited him into.
Independently.
And so, just so you understand all this BS that we've been going through. Don't ask me the history of GNONA, because I'm going to tell you. no holds barred. And so from January to when he died in March, we had no contact, no communication.
We ain't know what was going on.
But the last person to talk to him was Chief Langley.
Yeah.
And the last person with him was a little old lady who came to be his cousin named Angel on Hands, who is a very close friend and elder of Chief Quinquet. So I want to help you understand what we're seeing from this side, the way that thing is playing out, like why is all this happening? And so he dies. When he dies,
we don't know nothing. You did a whole eulogy.
When he dies, we do the eulogy. I knew nothing about him taking the organization, trying to get it registered. Him telling, I knew nothing about him telling Langley, and I have inboxes of me confronting this brother because he was spreading it throughout the movement. He spread it to an organization just like 18 months ago.
Yeah. And
the organization said, "Yo, man, what's this guy talking about? You ain't no Geechee, and you a criminal hiding in there, and you a scammer." I said, "Who said that?"
Who said that?
And so when he sent me the inbox, the brother who was telling me, I said, "Oh man, that's Langley because he can't spell.
He can't spell. He misspelled every word.
He's a poor speller." And then I said, "Okay, the only person who would have that narrative that can't spell is that guy because I remember talking to him when he was trying to convince me to get down with his program."
Right.
You understand? And so I instantly put it together and I went right to his inbox and said, "What is this?" Just so you understand, I got all these inboxes. Me and this man had this conversation. This is the first time I'm talking about it publicly.
Yeah.
You understand? And he denied, "No, it wasn't me."
He said this.
And then we started talking about what happened when Harold died.
Right.
He said when Harold died, he turned over the paperwork that Harold had registered in Georgia. There was never no Gullah Nation of North America registered until we did in 2019. Nowhere. We checked.
We checked.
And so he had the belief that Harold founded it, and with Harold having the lineage from Sapelo Island, that he had more legitimacy than the rest of us. So he was following Harold because Harold was from Sapelo Island, and because he claimed that he started GNONA, and he appointed me international ambassador. And now he's removing me from that, not telling anybody why, just saying he's removing me, and then he ghosts. He goes ghost. And in the period of time that he went ghost, he was with Langley and with this Angel on Hands, and they was attempting to steal the Gullah Nation of North America and run it under his own heritage society, Langley's Heritage Society. That's what was happening. And so we didn't know any of that until recently.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't know any of that until I talked to Langley. So when Harold died, we was all hurting, man. I went to Bunce Island, man. I poured libations for the brother. I left cola for him. We thought that we lost our first Paramount.
He was a traitor.
But he was a traitor.
Imagine.
And so we didn't know. And we didn't know that he was disseminating this information to people. And so people were looking at us like frauds because he was disseminating this information.
Right.
And it got to the point that even last year, we had to do a cease and desist process with the Gullah Nation, the Gullah Geechee Nation, directly to Quinquet, because one of our members reached out to her and mentioned that he talked to the chief in Sierra Leone, and the chief in Sierra Leone said that it's cool to go to Quinquet and tell your story to her. Maybe she can help you. She knows more people there than me.
Right.
Peacefully, not beefing. He go there and immediately she says, "Well, that guy is scamming people in the name of Gullah Nation and saying that he's related to me." Y'all hear that shit? So I don't know how far the lies and the deceptions have gone, but many people have targeted on me, and they still are.
Yeah.
With this same lie. And that's the only reason why I'm so passionate about talking about it, because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. You understand?
Look, it's just laughing.
Yeah.
Chief is related to her.
Yeah,
Imagine.
yeah. Like I mean, they made this big lie. Some people who came here with Foday Kunda after we split from him. Oh man, they really got my blood in their mouth. They really want me bad.
For what though?
You understand? They're with this Langley guy.
Right.
And they view themselves as an independent community people who all connect through DNA, and that they're now going to be the gatekeepers of the Mende people. Just like he feels himself going to be the gatekeepers of the Timid people. This is a cultic game that's being played, and we've told them that.
Right.
So I don't have no problem saying it publicly now today. You understand? It's finally time to say what the true history of GNONA is.
We don't be even talking about this stuff publicly.
And so, just recently we had another attack from this guy, Chad Kershaw, which is a close friend of Foday Kunda.
We don't know him.
He goes the Mende way, Foday goes the Timney way, but they're part of the same thing. And Langley is somewhere in between behind, playing mastermind. So you understand what's going on here. Queen Quet was telling people that I was out here scamming people. I'm not a Gullah Geechee. And I'm running. I'm running from a crime, from a fraud crime. This same information that Harold threw at me the day before I got on that call. So I'm like, what kind of agency work is this? Just so y'all understand where I'm coming from.
Right.
As a Pan-Africanist, first and foremost, somebody who's been fighting in our struggle for 23 years.
A political activist, not just a regular.
Not a normal dude, man.
Yeah, not a normal dude like
I don't care. Look,
I
don't care about no crown. I don't care about no chieftaincy. None of that shit. You understand? I'm just explaining to you how it happened, so you can understand who we are and whether you are going to support us or not moving forward. So, end of the day, we've been fighting for our credibility, even though we've been putting in all this dynamic work.
Right.
Gullah Nation of North America created the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone through my international ambassador. In 2018, we were finally able to connect with the Sierra Leone Gullah Kinship Association, the organization that I knew about before I came, and the same organization that 2 times where I corresponded with Quet, she told me to go to them people. So I had done some research. Some of y'all can do it well. I researched it, Googled it, YouTubed it. Not too much out there, but what is out there will let you know that this was a formidable organization at the time. So I was like, yo, I need to find these people. Now I got here in 2013. It wasn't until 2018 that I found these people.
Late.
Why? Because they were being suppressed here by the government because they had got so strong and overstepped their boundaries in this Gullah Geechee Sierra Leone relationship building. Back then, they held it like a high government program. Only politicians, and when you come, you be in a air-conditioned bus, and you never truly have a homecoming. You come home, but you never truly leave with a family. You understand? And so we wanted to really not go beyond that fantasy tourism thing and make it real for people when they come through our channel. And so, we created the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone, and finally we was able to get with these people. When we got with them, it was because they were mobilizing. They actually were headed by a chief originally, someone who wasn't a chief, but that they took to people and said, hey, this dude is our chief, man. This dude is really representing us. And his people said, well, we're going to crown you to represent your people. Same thing happened to me. And so they had a chief who was serving as the president of their organization that passed away in 2015. Now, why didn't I just get here and reach out and find them? I couldn't find them. They were hidden. They literally was underground. They didn't want to be found. And they were being suppressed. They were having conflicts with the government. The president, the higher-ups. They were protesting and all this other stuff. So they didn't want to be known. And I didn't know any of this, but I was looking for them. And I went to the museum. They gave me a fake number. Come to find out that they were secretly meeting in the museum the whole time. They gave me a fake number. So when we first met Icy 2 Smith,
that's what she said.
She, oh man, if you seen her face, when we said, yeah, I'm looking for the, Sierra Leone Gullah Kinship Association. The face that she made was like, oh, maybe I should be looking for these people. You understand? So we was already like, man, we ain't worrying about that. We already doing our GRMSL. GNONA already kicking. We just trying to hook up with the right people now. So it wasn't really straightened it like that. A few years later, we met some youth that was in that organization, and they was like, yo, man, stay away, man. You know, they got some corruption in that organization. They've done some things. They warned us like, yo, it's problems in that organization. And we was like, okay, but can we meet them? Can we meet the leaders? Can we talk to them? And at the time, they were not organizing themselves. The chief had died, and they were dormant. And so we was going to build something with them, but these young brothers, they had moved on from the promises of that organization in the past, and they really didn't want to get involved in the new organization. We just continued with our mission. Later in 2018, late 2018, November, I was contacted by one of my close friends here, one of our closest friends here, brother named Elijah Gedra. Elijah Gedra is the CEO for Culture Radio 104.5 in Freetown. He's a Rastafarian. He runs one of the most progressive Pan-African radio stations in the country. I used to have a show there. You know, they always bang my music and support the causes. So he's our big brother. You know, we call him Foday Elijah. And so he contacted me and was like, hey, man, I think I found one of your Gullah brothers you was looking for. And I gave him your number, and I want to give you his number too. I was like, all right, cool. He gave me the number, we got hooked up. It happens to be our national director now, Nathaniel Godfather Stevens. We call him Godfather. He's like the Godfather of the movement. He has an amazing story of being down with the Gullah Leone struggle to the point where before there was any resources or any interest of us caring about Sierra Leone too much after the war, he was walking around in the communities teaching people about this Gullah connection. People laugh about it, but he actually organized a lot of the mass movement in Freetown.
Yeah, he got a lot of grassroots people who didn't know. A lot of people only in like universities and higher up even really understood the connection. But he was the one that took it down to the grassroots, to the people, so they can understand there's people like us that was born outside of Sierra Leone, but are Sierra Leonean.
Yeah.
So he kept me in the call.
He took it down there, and so he was the national coordinator for them when we met him. And so this brother is dynamic. Of course, now he's a national director with us. And what happened is that Commissioner Griffin Lotson of the U.S. Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Commission, that brother there, he was on his way back to the country. Now, he had come first time because he met the kinship's chief, the former president, the late man, in America when he went there. And so he had come here before. Lotson had come here before. Griffin Lotson had come here before. Even, I think, before me. He was here like 2011 on a visit, went back. He never stayed here, never lived here, but he was here. He touched down. Come to find out, turn it around now, he was coming back for the first time. And the guy he came with was dead. So he reached out to the next of kin, the other people. And they were dormant. It wasn't meeting. They didn't have an organization, anything. But because he was coming, they mobilized. And in that mobilization, Godfather Nat, doing his work as national coordinator, reached out to Elijah Gedra because he runs the radio station. And I had been on the radio here saying, hey, man, you know, if anybody know anything about the Gullah Geechee history and culture, and hit me up. And so I had already been putting the word out there. I'm looking for people to build with on that tip. And so, you know, it was like a relief, to tell you the truth. I was like, oh, finally meet the actual group. And right away, it took a few days. We met their executives. They came to our house. We showed them our GNONA Constitution. We showed them our Pisani plan of action.
Our reclaiming, our banners, our flyers. We just did a full-fledged presentation.
Yes, and it was nice. It was nice to finally have the embrace. And what we understood immediately was that these were people who actually knew bits and pieces of our history. but don't know us as a people. And so they started to invite us to the weekly meetings that they was having, preparing for Lotson. And so we was actively involved. Every week we was at the meeting. We put up money. We put our ideals. And when Lotson came, he came to bring the ring shout back to Africa for the first time. So he came back to perform the ring shout. Now he runs the Geechee Gullah ring shouters. You understand? So he's done the ring shout at the White House. He's been in Roots. You know what I'm saying? So this is a cultural veteran as well in terms of Gullah Geechee, in terms of putting things on books. Speaking of books, he also wrote a book about the song Kumbaya, and discovered that the first time it was ever recorded in history, it was a Gullah Geechee man in his hometown that was in prison.
Right.
That was recorded singing Kumbaya, and he was singing it like that because he was a Geechee.
Right.
And so he had went to the Library of Congress, listened to it, and went and did the research behind it and wrote a book about it. I got the book in my bedroom now. So he came back, and we assisted him and them as GNONA, GRMSL, partnered up to do it. And we had a great event at the Nyata Conference, which is like a big hall here. It's like the government hall here. Other groups was there. The government was there. And it was just a great event. There was some cultural things happening. I gave a speech on behalf of GNONA. Kenya gave a speech on behalf of GNONA. We announced ourselves in Sierra Leone as the Paramount chief at that time, because I had just recently been made that. And Kenya was serving as an international ambassador. So we gave speeches, and you can actually go to Gullah House Media.
Yes.
And we have a video of our speeches there.
Right.
That we get to. I'm not just giving cap. These things really happen. Later on, after Lotson left and things like that, there was another guy who had been involved the whole time, Amadou Masaleh. Amadou Masaleh, before we had the actual event, I met him for the first time where I had the opportunity to sit down with him. I'd actually met him through Foday Kunda. Foday Kunda was connected to him. He's like the Sierra Leonean cultural ambassador out there. If you got a Salon connection, he wants to connect with you. Barbados, Gullahs, whatever. And so him and Foday was already affiliated before we knew Foday. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was through connection with him and Foday that we created a Sierra Leone Reunion Movement, SLRM. And through that movement is how I got wind of the Sierra Leone Monuments and Relics Commission, and how I got the ideal, and we agreed that we would go ahead of time to meet her before Foday came to discuss this citizenship thing. And so that's how that even happened. For a while we was cool, but this was the time where we kind of parted ways with Amadou Masaleh. Amadou Masaleh told me that the kinship people that I was now organizing with, that we were organizing to receive Griffin Lotson with, were kidnappers. And that during some time past, Joseph Opala, the white man who they call the father of the Gullah connection to Sierra Leone, some would say Gullah white Jesus. They love him like Jesus out here. He's a citizen out here. Got a Timney wife out here. You know, he's worked with the ambassadors and the presidents out here. And he's primarily responsible for the research on Bunce Island. And to make that research more potent, you have to tie human people to it, a cultural heritage to it. And that's where Gullah Geechee people come in. So Gullah Geechee people tie into Joseph Opala's Bunce Island interests. And so they use our narrative a lot to highlight the connection between them and America, but only to get American grants to focus on Bunce Island. It's not something where it turns into something for Gullah Geechee people or even Sierra Leonean people. There was a time where the National Park Service, the United States National Park Service, was going to take over Bunce Island in Sierra Leone, and then the war broke out. So I'm just giving you some information that most people don't understand and don't know. So Joseph Opala is like the mentor for Amadou Masaleh as well. And Joseph Opala is the creator. He's the man who actually created the group, the Sierra Leone Gullah Kinship Association. He created it, he named it, but he left it for the people to build, his own people that he had trained. And so those people had a split, and they split away because they believed that Sierra Leoneans should have the leadership of that movement, and it shouldn't be a European historian. Even though they're grateful for what he has done and what they learned from him, they didn't feel as though he should be able to block the relationship building between them now, the Kinship Association, and the Gullah Geechee people out there. And I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree that the people here had the right to have the direct connection. And that even though we can do history and things like that, lectures to talk about what the connection is, we have to have a plan to facilitate that connection. We have to have a way for grassroots Gullah Geechee families and grassroots Sierra Leonean families to have a direct connection without having to go through any government middleman or historian or anthropologist or tour guide. We can have these direct connections with our people, which is what the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone was created for in the first place. That direct family relationship, that restoration at that level. And so, Amadou Mansaray told me that these people were kidnappers. He told me a story that Joseph Opala was trying to get Bendu Jabati, who is the Mende sister from Sinihun and Gullah, that remembered the song that the Moran family in Harris Neck, Georgia also retained, and they were able to connect the Moran family through Mary Moran and the Jabati family through Bendu Jabati, and they were able to sing the same song together that was preserved despite history, despite slavery, despite the transatlantic slave trade. They were Gullah Geechee people, despite a family that could sing the same song, traditional in Mende language, as a woman in Sinihun and Gullah. And so, long story short, Joseph Opala played a big role in doing that research and making that connection. And so Joseph Opala during the war, from what Amadou told me, attempted to have Bendu Jabati transported outside of Sierra Leone to Guinea, where I believe Opala was there at the time because, if I'm not mistaken, he himself got driven out after a coup. He got chased out. A lot of the Americans left after a coup that took place during the war here. And so he was trying to rescue her, I believe. And he says he sends people from this movement, this kinship group, down in the war with government military protection to go receive this woman, bring her back to Freetown, and then they refused to release her, and they demanded money. And so he made it like they kidnapped her for ransom. And me just meeting these people and me being the kind of person that I am, I went right back to him and said, yo, listen, man, I ain't with the shenanigans. What's this? And what I got back from them as a collective was that it didn't happen like that. And it's like a rumor that someone's making up against us so they can criminalize us. It said that they did go and get her, and they did have her in Freetown. But what happened was that Joseph Opala refused to rescue anyone else. And people felt like they had risked their lives to rescue her. And Joseph Opala had a reputation for rescuing Sierra Leoneans and taking them to America during the war. So it was practical, that's something that he could have done. But they said Joseph Opala was like, no, I'll turn her over hours later. And it was like, no, man, that's a bad deal, man. You want to come get her. And so there was no kidnapping, but these people refused to be fooled, be taken advantage of in their own perspective. And I might be the only person talking about this. I might be the only person that can talk about this because I actually talked to the people. So it became a rift between Opala and the Gullah Kinship Association. Later on, in the early 2000s, they brought the Amistad boat back, the boat that carried Singbe Pierre. They brought that boat back over here, and they got it in Freetown, and it was a big thing. A lot of people came out, a lot of people learned things, and from what I understand, this is when Amadou Masaleh learned about the Gullah connection. It wasn't something that he knew. He'd been in America for a very, very long time, but it wasn't something that he knew. You understand? And so that's why I say Opala is like his mentor. You know, he learns a lot. He has a relationship with that man, and he also created his own group called the Sierra Leone Gullah Heritage Association. He did nothing but change kinship to heritage. So he co-opted the kinship association by just changing one word, and by working with Opala, now he has split the kinship. And so now there's a mission to criminalize this kinship. There's a mission to uplift this heritage association, and this Amadou Masaleh as the legitimate person to go to if you're a Gullah seeking a Sierra Leone connection. And so this brother has been to our festivals down there. You know, he's been all over our activities. But what people don't know is what I'm about to tell you. We were cool up until that point. Like I said, we were building a Sierra Leone reunion movement based on Sierra Leonean Americans, not African ancestral DNA people. Gullah Geechees too. So the citizenship included us too, originally at first, and everywhere. I told them people, we had our event. At the event, there was some shade that I think was being thrown at the kinship, not to us, but we was catching it too because we was with them. We talked about it with the kinship after that, and we kind of like blew it off, or that comes with the game. So the current president of the kinship, a man named Usman decided, he and Nathaniel, Godfather, they decided that they wanted to invite Amadou Masaleh to a meeting. And we had the meeting at John F. Kennedy High School. Anyone who knows that is here in Freetown, in Kleintown. We had a meeting there. That man came there. Me and my wife was there. We was all at the high table. We were discussing. And the president stood up and began to confront, or at least clarify, the myth. And he told Amadou the same story that he had told us when we confronted him about what Amadou had told us. And he said, no, man, that didn't happen like that. And they had a message for Joseph Opala. They said, well, now we're remobilizing, reorganizing, and we're going to continue to do that. But at the same time, let Opala take a back seat this time. Let the black people control this movement now. And so that's what they told him. I don't know if he thought that we had influenced them to say that, but we really didn't. They really felt like that.
Yeah, that was not.
And
I was surprised.
And so I felt like maybe he was upset because that confrontation happened. But if you look at transparency and how things are really supposed to be, he shouldn't have. We really should have just had that conversation openly anyway from the jump. And I felt it was kind of sneaky to kind of like throw that at me before we have the event, and then like put me in a what you gonna do situation, and then come to the event with others that was throwing shade. And so they have to make sure that we know that Opala is the man here.
He kept saying that.
I mean, different people and speakers will go up and say, yeah, kinship, yeah, y'all doing y'all thing. Don't forget who taught you. They would use that. And there's so many government officials and the ministries of culture and tourism and stuff like that owe their knowledge of us to him. And they meet us like we're inferior to him, the man who they learned about us from, a white man. And so it's unbelievable, but we've dealt with this, and it's one of the reasons why you don't see us too moving in high government circles, because there's some people who have been involved in this all this time on this side. And we represent something new, something uncontrollable, something that
represents ourselves.
Something that represents us.
Yeah, not no outside third party.
You understand? We're intellectuals with a community. And so it is different than what it used to be when it could be controlled by grants, controlled by governments, controlled by politicians and historians. We've actually been able to reconnect this mission to the people. And the people who really wanted that to happen are the people that we connected with. You understand? And so what happened now, yes, that's right, Fee. Let's make them fully understand, since I got your attention and we got all night if we need it. I knew that was going to be a backlash for that. But I didn't anticipate that it would come in the way that it came. So I had been in a group called Sustainable Tourism that Amadou Mansaray put me into. At that event, at that meeting that we had, he had a fiery speech about, 2019 is the payday. Finally, everything that the Gullahs have wanted, everything that the Africans and the diaspora have wanted is going to come to fruition. This is our year, and he told us that he's coming back with 50 Gullah Geechees, and that we was going to be a part of receiving our people and a part of all of that, because we're here, we're Gullah Geechees, and we're already working with the people. Made sense, right? So we was told that at that meeting. After that meeting, since that meeting, I've never seen Amadou Mansaray again in person. But what happened is that in that group which we was in WhatsApp, there was a situation, something remember it. There was a guy called Creole Boy. Creole Boy was a white boy from Utah who was a Mormon who came out here on his little mission and learned some Creole, moved around a little bit on Okadas, had a little experience, and went back and started teaching this child Creole, made a whole blog called Creole Boy. So now he came here for a few months, went back to America and transformed into Creole Boy, and was teaching his son Creole from Sierra Leone when he didn't fully know it. And he's a Mormon from Utah. And so it was a big buzz about this guy because he took a he took a photo at the highest peak in film in the Jesus pose. Right. With his arms out. Right. And BBC News ultimately came in, BBC Africa came in and did a interview with him. They highlighted his story on BBC News. And I mean, that might be good for the country or for BBC, but everybody wasn't having it. A lot of the Sierra Leoneans was like, yo, we got, what about when we go to America and we master English?
Or German.
What about when we go to Germany and we master German? Or France. Like, okay, we know a little bit of Creole. And some people were not impressed and they felt like nothing he said or did warranted a BBC thing, and we felt like there was a lot more issues in the country that could have been highlighted. And so there was a real reason why people disagreed with that, right? And so in the group, people was expressing their different opinions. I came in late. People had already said they disagree with, BBC doing that and him behaving like now, he's a Creole person or he's a this or that when, no, don't put that image out there. Love the country, but you ain't got mock us. You ain't got mock us. You ain't got appropriate. You understand? So I felt like that. And what I said was, this is like Eminem or Ice or Vanilla Ice. They don't have to be that good of rappers. They just have to be white and be able to hold some bars together. And so that's how we understood it. And I put it out there like that. And I said, well, that's what it is. From there, people was opposing it. They was opposing other people's posts as well, so it wasn't just directed at me. But Amadou Mansaray specifically isolated and singled me out. And I said something to the extent that my mother told me that wherever there is a discussion or we have to hold white people accountable, that there will always be a black person to defend them. Meaning that if you want to hold white people as a whole accountable, there will always be a black person that will show up, come up, and tell you how good they are and how bad we are sometimes. And so that's what that meant. And it would hit Dog Holler.
Oh, that was like
So
8 hours.
he jumped in, man. We had an 8-hour debate back and forth. I was being as respectful as possible. And this brother thought he was like exposing me as a racist or something, to tell you the honest truth.
It was weird.
And I was like, yo, you tripping, dog. Like,
You met me
what you talking about? You met me as a Pan-African. I'm a Garveyite. What are you talking about? You know I don't get down like that. But this is what, with this whole situation, you going too far. And he kept going. He kept provoking. So I said, what is he trying to do here?
He had a lot
So
of
there was white people
that agreed with Chief.
that was like, he's right. And so it's like, even as they agreed, he got more pissed. Because I guess he thought everybody was going to agree with him. Because there's white people in his group. The white people jumped in and was like, yo, I agree, man, that dude, he appropriated. The white people, the ones who came over as Peace Corps back in 1961, dudes with citizenship with high honors from the government.
Yeah,
and so even other people that was there that had my same position, he wasn't hanging on them like that. And part of the conversation we had was, you bringing back 50 Gullah Geechees. Why you bringing Europeans back on the year of return? Oh, so now we can't bring Europeans? I know some Africans who are more wicked than Europeans, and I know Europeans that have done way more for Africa than Africans have done. So he became the defender. At some point in the dialogue, I said, oh, you're the defender. He said, yeah, you got it. So he stepped out to me to defend this white boy. And it was because of what happened prior. The people in the group didn't know what had led up to him feeling like, I'm going to confront this dude.
But he never said nothing after that meeting.
You understand? So what happened is that he tried to paint me as a quote-unquote racist because I said, one, my opinion of the white guy. Two, why should white people be coming back for the year of return with 50 Gullahs? That don't make sense. And so what happened is that he kicked me out of his group. When he kicked me out of his group and he came with the 50 Gullahs, we were never included. And if a Gullah asks these people these questions, they're going to lie about it. But we got evidence. We keep these. I'm just now coming public with it because it's my 4th year serving this community as the 3rd Paramount Chief. And this has been happening, and we have been handling it. Those who are our family know this.
Yeah.
Those in the community know we've been minding our own business and just letting them throw their stones and pushing forward, and not telling this whole story like it needs to be told.
Getting our backs bitten out the whole way through.
Yes. And so he came with 50 Gullah Geechees and some white people, and including Joseph Opala, and they kept us out of it deliberately, knowing that we were here, knowing that we were cleaning King Jimmy, knowing that we were conducting our own tours, knowing that we had a tourism license, knowing us, he himself deliberately decided to not let our people know us when they got here.
And we knew people that came and
some people was trying to get with us, and they was like, well, they moving us around too much. There was people in America that was like, hey, my aunt is there.
She said,
hey, my sister is there. And so they were trying to get us to connect, but there's so much politics and so much hatred and beefing behind the scene that you guys never see. That we literally, after all the work done here, didn't have an opportunity to meet the largest group of Gullah Geechees that ever came to Sierra Leone on a homecoming because of this one man, Amadou Mansaray, who felt as though his boss was disrespected when the kinship said his boss needed to take the back seat if he's going to continue with them. Yeah, it had nothing to do with me.
Look, dude, they was like, this is Black history. Ain't no white man going to be coming back.
Yes,
we was like,
yes.
We was clutching our pearls at the same time. Like, what?
Yes, and so we stepped away. Soon after that, we said, okay, kinship, y'all said that we can join your organization, which is fine. We can just work together. You understand? And we said, well, can we see your Constitution? We showed them our Constitution the first day we met them.
Your bylaws, how you operate.
We showed them how we operate, that we're legal and legitimate up front. So now we want to join you. We said, well, can we see your Constitution?
Because they said we could join at their first meeting.
As soon as we asked for the Constitution, they said, no, nobody can see our Constitution. And so I said, well, no problem. We're going to just continue with our Gullah redemption mission, Sierra Leone. Peace, deuces. If we can partner on something, let's see what we can do. But I don't think we want membership. They was like, well, you can't have membership. You can partner with us. So I was
they ain't even doing that.
So I was like, how is it that you have this Sierra Leone Gullah Kinship Association and only get to live in the country that you can identify, cannot join, because you refused to show the Constitution? If I didn't ask for the Constitution, I could have joined, because I've been a fool. You understand? So we asked for the Constitution, they refused to give it to us, blew up, act like we want to steal their Constitution when we got our own shit. And we walked away. But what happened was, Godfather Nat, others like the late Almami Bangora, others who really came on board to finally kickstart the company, they were long-standing members of the kinship that were disenfranchised and dissatisfied with the leadership anyway, because they were dormant and only got organized for Latson. And after Latson left, they felt as though they just helped them for nothing, because he really didn't leave nothing behind. And so when you do that to people out here, just so y'all know, they start fighting when you leave. When you pull one person in the corner and give him some money, he doesn't give other people money. And then they fight it out when you leave.
That's a whole mess.
And so that was kind of happening after they left. They were like, damn, we just did this big ass thing and we still dead ass broke and nobody look out for us. We told them all of our problems. And so they was bickering like, yo, maybe he gave them some and they didn't give us none. So they was having their own suspicions of themselves. And then I was like, you know what, we're all right, because y'all were dormant. Y'all ain't really organized like that.
Ain't got no programs.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So we decided that we would continue forward with GRMSL, and the people who had invited us into the kinship and felt like we should be members, they thought we would be members. It was them who originally said, Chief, you need to be recognized here. We need to write a letter to the Mandingo chief in Freetown and find out how we can get you recognized here, because you're a real Gullah Geechee, and we don't have a real Gullah Geechee chief here. And your people already chose you, so all we have to do is recognize you.
Wait, but you missing the part where after we said we're not going to be able to join, the problem came when all the members that had mobilized for this event said, oh my God, I've been with them 15 years. I've never seen a Constitution.
That's exactly what happened.
That's where it started.
That's exactly what happened.
Crazy. We said,
so people was like, the late chief was corrupt, and they had left the organization because he was holding money from the population, and they used to gather money from the population. Like, if they want to go to America, they'll tap everybody in the movement pockets, and that'll be their ticket. They're gone. And so the people felt exploited because they never got anything out of it.
Right.
And so when they went dormant, that was it.
Yeah.
But when Latson contacted them, they was like, oh snap, we got a chance. Mm-hmm. So they tried to, pull themselves together. We was there. We assisted them. And it was a hell of a pull together.
It was, yeah.
But after that, we were not allowed to join them. They said no. The president said no. But the whole organization didn't agree with that. Yeah. And those who wanted us in accepted that we were going to do our own thing. And some of them was like, well, if you're going that way, I'm going that way. But it didn't happen right away. They went back and had a meeting with their own leaders, and they asked to see the Constitution. And they were told, if you want to see a Constitution, leave. And they was like, wow, I've been giving my money. I've been loyal here 15 years, 20 years. On good faith, I never thought to see a Constitution. But we're being governed without a Constitution.
And everybody that knows the organization.
The Constitution is like the Bible. It's like the Quran. It's the founding principles. It's the guiding light. And so, this situation has been hostile.
The whole time they always doing this work.
And that man came and all that. So we ended up, at that time, we were still cool with Foday Ajamu and his group, just so you understand. At that time, we didn't have any problems with them. we were still in support of them getting their citizenship, and we thought that it was still something that we were doing there. And I had confided in Foday Kunda. Mind you, I met Amadou through him. But he was making like him and Amadou ain't that cool. He down with the program, and they don't got no dealings and all this. So his group came to get citizenship in April originally, and they were denied. Unfortunately, they were denied. But one group did get it. So there was 2 tours here at one time in April 2019. And one of the groups, which was headed by Mende's sister, Shavana, they got their citizenship on that trip. We don't know the process or procedure they went through, but they got their citizenship confirmed.
We're full aware that we've been advocating for it the whole time.
But we have been advocating since 2015 at least. And so we was happy, like, oh, man, that's what's up. It's happening. And then the other group, the Timni group, led by Foday Kunda, they came in November, and I believe they have like a Mende sister group, like a twin. The same way they operate in the Timni community, they operate in the Mende community. They have 2 different heads. So the whole group was here, and this is just showing you the kind of dynamism. I'm not talking bad about these brothers, man.
This is just the truth.
I'm just telling the truth.
Yeah, I mean,
they came here for the citizenship, and they didn't get it the second time in November. And I remember when they came, we had registered Gullah Redemption Mission in Sierra Leone as a nonprofit company on July 4th, 2019. And our first activity was to clean King Jimmy, a historic site, the place where our ancestors first stepped foot back when they came back to Africa the first time, King Jimmy, right? Freetown was built by people who first stepped foot on King Jimmy. And so we went there because the place is like, it's a slum. So we went there and galvanized the community, got them organized behind Many Roots, One Fambo, recruited 150 members, and started implementing. We did it with you guys' help. We did the crowdfundings, we did the photos, we did the meetings, we made sure everything was transparent, we showcased everything we did. So it was very successful. And we did it 4 or 5 times when we cleaned down there. And but before we cleaned, after we cleaned, they came with a group.
The next month.
And we were happy for them to come. We organized the people of King Jimmy and Government Wharf, the neighboring community. We brought the deputy mayor there. We invited her there to welcome them to meet with us. We brought the council members for King Jimmy there as well. So they welcomed Foday Kunda and his group. And we took them on a visibility study, a tour of King Jimmy and the historic sites, including the Freetown City Council building. So we walked in Government Walk. So we walked around and seen things with the people, not the people right there with us, explaining and showing us. We right there with them, and we document. There's a lot of information out there. ES did a very good Eat, Love, Migrate. She covered it, so you can go there and find the video there. It's not a lie. We were cool, November 2019. But what happened was that in the middle of that tour, mind you, we have the belief that Foday Kunda is on our side. He's our brother. And we even said clearly, nah, I ain't messing with that dude. I don't talk to him no more. We ain't doing nothing. And we believed him, and we thought that the group that he came with, which was the largest group he had come with, that this group would be able to have this visibility tour with us and realize that we all have a connection to King Jimmy. And this is a place where we all can come together to clean up, get a historic plaque here, protect these monuments and relics that's here with the government. Since, we work on them already, we can do this service. And so we was rallying, trying to get people to join into this thing, but everybody wants to do their own thing. Long story short, we had did one part of the tour, and then we still had the rest of the part of the tour to do.
The cotton tree, the monument.
So the first part was the Freetown City Council. We was there. All of a sudden, somebody who worked at that time with Amadou Mansaray shows up. First, I talked to him on the phone because he was talking to Foday Ajamu, and I had to give him directions to where he was at. I didn't know who he was when I gave him directions, but when I seen him, I recognized him as one of Amadou Mansaray's student volunteer tour guides. So I said, "Oh, what are you doing around here?" When he showed up, I said, "Oh, what's this? It's Amadou's youth." So I didn't just say, "Yo, man, get out of here. What you doing around here?" Because I ain't got no rights like that. So we just continued to do our thing. And in the middle of it, our crowd just started moving. We're on the tour, y'all. And the people that we have from the community and the people that's there with us are moving away from where we're at. And they're walking on the streets. And we're like, where are they going? So we're walking fast. Where are we going? Like, we're leading the tour. Where are we going? Well, we walk about 2 blocks, and the tour, the walk ends at the Sierra Leone Monuments and Relics Commission. And by the time I arrived there and went upstairs and seen what was going on, there was a discussion happening around citizenships and processing, paperwork being processed. And this guy, who I knew at the time, now he works for African Ancestry. But at the time, I knew that he was a volunteer student that worked with Amadou Mansaray. I knew it. I knew it in November, and then when the people came in December, the 50 Gullahs, he was with them, wearing a T-shirt. When Opala came, he was with them, wearing a T-shirt. So I'm making these connections because we understand what's going on, and we're confiding in the people who's coming so they understand what they're coming into. And so Foday knew very clear that we didn't want any association or connection with that guy there. That if you work with him, you don't work with us. You understand? And so once we seen this guy, we already knew that it was, Amadou's working. But once we went into the monuments and relics and realized that our tour had been hijacked by this guy.
Right.
For the purpose of their citizenship processing that we knew nothing about. And no one discussed with us, even though we're the ones who took Foday first there. Nobody in the government said, hey, we're processing this. And they didn't mind to say, hey, maybe y'all want to walk with us so y'all can push y'all Gullah cause as well. We walk together hand in hand, make sure they recognize us all. That's what we hope for. That's why we even helped the man in the first place. And so once we realized that it was a little deeper than that, that the people who's with him don't understand the treachery.
Right.
Or the depth of it.
The depth. Mm-hmm.
Or how we know him or how or what happened with they don't know any of this. You understand? And so after that, I believe it was the next day or 2 days later.
No, the next day.
Next day, a whole group of us,
about 20,
went out to their village to go pay them a visit in their village.
Yeah.
Because they came to pay us respect.
No, they invited us to a ceremony.
They invited us to a ceremony. We went there. The people who was with him didn't show their face. They was tucked away. So we felt already like, whoa, what's this? So the Black Americans that we just accepted at King Jimmy and walked through a visibility tour is hiding from us or being kept away from us because there's confrontation at that monument.
With the guy.
Not with Foday Ajamu, but with the guy who works with Amadou. And he was denying, I don't work with Amadou. I don't know. Like I said, the next month he was here with Amadou. And so we called him and said, yo, what you doing? Yo, Foday, you working with these people, man, behind us, man, what's going on? That's how we felt.
Right.
And so the next day, we went out there with a whole van of us. Mm-hmm. There were like 20, 25 people from Central Freetown to 4 Mile.
A long trip.
We went out there. The people who were with Foday didn't even have enough consideration and respect to come down to show us, to welcome us. Foday did, and I believe one of the brothers that he moves with. And we had a conversation. I was like, yo, man, what's up with that? Like, what happened? Like, that ain't cool, man. We can't rock with you and you rock with them. When you know, like, when this dude disrespected me and kicked me out the group, I went right to you like, yo, this dude, you like, man, fuck that dude, don't worry about it, man. It's all about what we doing. Come to find out, you conspiring with this guy, telling me one thing, and the only reason why I know is because our tour that we organized for you and your people got hijacked by Amadou Mansaray's student. So that was what caused the break between me and Foday Kunda. For everybody out there who needs to know and understand this, I don't got no personal vendetta against that man. I'm the reason why you contacted. Because it would have been something else if somebody else would have taken him somewhere else, probably.
If they would have took him.
And even when we say that, people get upset, but it is the absolute facts. And that's why I'm taking my time tonight to explain to you the history of GNONA and my 4 years as your third Paramount Chief of GNONA. It has not been easy, but there has been success. There has been success. There has been success after success, success after success. We've been able to get our people who are allowed to get their citizenship. We just recently got 2 more people their citizenship in November, helped them through the process. We have incorporated every organization. Black Star Action Network International is no longer here in Africa. It is now an international organization based in the United States of America. We're a nonprofit. Gullah Nation of North America, we're still an unincorporated community. You know, we still operate as a chiefdom. Don't get it twisted. We family first, Africa only. But we also have a CBO. We also have a nonprofit 501c3 organization. So we have tax exemption status and everything. Ain't nothing fake or phony about GNONA. You understand? And so we also incorporated our mission here. The Gullah Redemption Mission Series, on bringing it all home. And with that, we created a multi-structured organization or movement called the Gullah Leone Union. You understand? Now, Gullah Leone Union became the united body of all of us combined, working in America on the GNONA front, working in Africa on the GRMSL front, and those in Basani, those who are Pan-Africanists that may not be Gullah or Sierra Leone, that still have a respect and still want to be involved with the struggle here. Because a genuine Pan-Africanist doesn't care if they have a lineage connection to a place before they assist the people.
No.
You know, you don't have to be a Mandingo for me to love you, man. You don't have to be a Mende for me to prioritize you, man. You know, we're Africans. We're all Africans first. And that's our ideology. That's what's guiding this group of Gullah Geechees. We're not being motivated by federal corridor money. You know, they just extended it to 15 million now. No, 30 million now. And from 10 years to 15 years now. So that act that was passed by Congress in 2006 that created the United States Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor has been renewed for another 15 years, and instead of the original 10 million, it's going to be 30 million. So you have people who have tour companies, organizations, and things like that that are competing with themselves for that money, whether they admit it or not. They see everybody with an organization or in a business as their competition. And there's some Gullah Geechees that have that mentality. Some of them, embarrassingly, are those who everyone believes are the leaders. And for us, as you see, we're a younger generation. And, you know, we're leading ourselves collectively. We got a different style of doing these things. So some of the things we've done with GNONA is that we've established the Gullah House Media, which is a media platform that you're probably watching us on if you're on YouTube right now. You can check out the other videos there so that we can showcase what we do. And that came because we know that we have a responsibility to be held accountable by people who support us. And so we make sure that every activity we do that's significant, that we document it. Any activity that we do that relates to fundraising, we document it. And we don't just document it, but we also premiere it and make it public so people can consume it and understand how we think. And sometimes people see our content and then they give us a good advice. You know, sometimes they criticize it like, yo, you could do that a little better. Like, yo, why you didn't go this way? And we appreciate that. That's the only way that we can stand is with good advisors.
Right.
You know, we're not picking at people because we hold titles. You understand? We actually real down to earth and understand that it's going to take the people to change the situation, and that the people have to produce their own leaders from among them. And this is a case of that. And so we'll continue to honor that. The people struggle. Even if it has to be manifested through us, I would support myself just like I would support you. But everybody don't have that mentality. And so there's been a lot of crisis in building this thing. We've, for the third year now, fourth year now, right? Third year now, we've been a licensed tour operator in the country under the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone, which again is a nonprofit. We do social work without accommodation. Nobody's paid. But we do have the ability to venture socially. We can do social venturing. So that means that we can start a farm off of our dues or off of fundraised money, and then that farm could help us to generate resources that will go back into our programs and make them more self-sustainable. So we do have the legal right to do that, even as a nonprofit company in the Republic of Sierra Leone. And so one thing we did with that was say, well, our people been coming before we even incorporated. We already been receiving our people, so tourism is one way. We even recruited people, members, we even trained them in tour guiding, hosting. Our members here are prepared to host you. They've been trained, and we do workshops. Every month we'll do a workshop on something different. Maybe it might be on something on the phone applications, or next month it might just be on the financial policy. But we do these workshops so that we're training the organizers that we're organizing. We're not just here like finding people to give free food to. You know what I'm saying? We're not just here on that kick. That's not what this is. This is nation building, 101, international level. Gullah Leone, that's what this is, live direct. And some people can't conceive it, but it's real. And those who have been there will tell you it's real. You understand? So, long story short, we started the Be Clean campaign. The Be Clean campaign was originally started by Basani. Do you understand? 2017. But when we took Basani back to America and incorporated the mission here, all of the programs and activities that Basani was organizing was shifted, or let me say, granted, over to Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone. So Basani started the Be Clean campaign, but GRMSL took it over, and we took it down to King Jimmy now. So Choosing Seeds, we started Choosing Seeds with Basani. We first was planting groundnuts in my village with the community 2 years before GRMSL was even established. So we already had these proof of concepts and these showcases and these programs before we got to a point here where all that could have happened with the kinship, with Amadou, with all these other people that we're naming. You understand? And so I feel compelled to tell you all of this, so you understand. Now, there's been times where we've gone to the government here and they laughed at us. They mocked us because we wasn't affiliated with Joseph Opala. As Gullah people. And there's been times here where people who come via African ancestry DNA and get their citizenship have absolutely no idea of the role that me and my wife played in the process of them even being able to get their citizenship before they even knew they were Sierra Leone.
Exactly.
And it's because these people who have made us their rivals out of their disloyalty is the reason the same group of people that is putting this information out to strangers that we don't know so that they can choose their path and not our path. Because it's clear now that we have carved an independent path for ourselves and our people on this continent when it comes to Gullah Geechee people and Sierra Leone, West Africa, without them. And so just because of that, it makes us rivals. It's whatever.
Man.
But at the end of the day, there's so much more success. We've had an executive trip last April. We had Baba Fogbo here, him and his wife, Mama Adema. We had Sister Lola here. Y'all know her from Gullah Leone show. And we had who else? Baba Singbe, Brother Reggie Austin, Gullah Geechee man from Detroit, living in pain. Came out here and got his citizenship.
Dr. Yvonne was here.
Dr. Yvonne. So we had a nice group here. We was able to do our first homecomings. People were adopted into our headquarters village of the movement here, Jamakoa, a Mende village. They were adopted into it. And they were not only adopted into a village, but they were adopted into lineages, founding lineages at the headquarters of a chiefdom. So they were plugged in the highest way that you can plug the people coming back to their ancestral group. And, you know, from there, we started our little farming. So far, we farmed 120 acres. We have a community farm. We farm rice, we farm cassava, we farm beans, bini or sesame seeds, black-eyed beans. So we just did a lot of different foods. And I'll say that we've reduced not only hunger, but the amount of money that people have to have in order to survive in those rural areas, because we work with the people for the organization there. We're soon about to have a CBO there. They'll be their own independent organization with their own bank account and everything. We have over 30 members, Mende members inside of Mende Village that 100% unite with what we're doing. And, you know, and just as recently as November, we had another group. We had Mama Yomi here, and we had Sister Anita, who is now our international ambassador. She's taken that over since Kenya has become our president now in the organization. And so, you know, international ambassador. So Anita, she got her citizenship. You know, another sister that came through our channel, she got her citizenship. You know, so we've been finally able to at least participate in our people getting citizenships. And there's been this competition almost, whereas people are saying, well, Gullah Geechees who got African ancestry DNA proving that they're Sierra Leoneans are the ones that's the real Sierra Leonean Gullah Geechees. The rest, nah, man, y'all can't prove, man. Y'all from everywhere, Congo, Nigeria. So they make this thing up, whereas it completely ignores that we returned.
Right.
Completely ignores that Thomas Peters was a Geechee. Completely ignores that the founding fathers of Freetown and the Creole community were Gullah Geechees. The majority, 500 of the 1,200, came from South Carolina. And
the language is preserved here.
And the language, that's why we speak Creole here. You know that? So right now, if I want to talk to you inside the Creole right now, you able to understand me? You see that? Well, if you talk Geechee, maybe you they understand the Creole more. But me, I fluent part of the Creole, because in order to survive inside Africa, you get for us, I need the language of the people no more. And Creole now is the lingua franca of the whole country of Sierra Leone. No matter what your tribe is or what your mother tongue language is, you have to know Creole.
It's a universal language.
So how did Creole become that influential in the language, the culture, and the lives of everyday Sierra Leoneans who don't have that history without us coming back talking Geechee? And so it's not just blood legacy that we have here. And so that has always been our point, that blood should be secondary. There's enough studies to prove that between 1750 and 1774, from Bunce Island to Charleston, South Carolina, between two white boys, Richard Oswald and Henry Lawrence, they probably single-handedly facilitated up to 25,000 Africans took them from Bunce Island directly to the port of Charleston and Savannah. Now, the average plantation had 150 people, upwards to 2,000 on them big plantations. So take that 25,000 and divide them up into 150 to 2,000 portions. And then have them mix with the others coming from the Caribbean and others being born there and the others coming from other parts of Africa. You don't get the Gullah Geechee community without that 25,000 that came directly from Sierra Leone. And this is why we're taking our DNA test and it's coming back here. This is why when you see Sierra Leoneans, they like you. This is why I have no problem here. People see me and they have no idea that I'm from America until I open my mouth.
For real.
This is why. We're the same exact biological group of people, regardless of the tribe. Tribe is determined by culture and geography. We're diverse like that. But these tests are leaning towards tribalism because people are taking them
like that
and then identifying one tribe and isolating themselves. Well, we say many roots, one family. I don't care what tribe you're from, we your family. Let me help you. If you're Kano, I know some Kano people. If you're this, I know some people like that. So some of the things have just been great, to tell you the truth. We've done a lot of great work, and we're not done yet. Starting tomorrow, of course, we have Black History Month. But we, the people of GNONA, we will be launching the Gullah Geechee Heritage Project. And we will be appointing heritage ambassadors. Gullah Geechee descendants who will be responsible for representing the community and the cultural heritage wherever they are. So we have heritage ambassadors right now on deck in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, York, Pennsylvania, Beaufort, St. Helena, Orangeburg, Atlanta, Arizona, Sierra Leone. So we have people who are Gullah Geechee descendants in these different locations that will take on the responsibility of being cultural heritage ambassadors under GNONA. And we'll be pushing this Gullah Geechee Heritage Program together. So they'll be local. So we have the Orangeburg Gullah Geechee Heritage Project. And we'll have the St. Helena Gullah Geechee Heritage Project. We'll have the York, Pennsylvania Gullah Geechee Heritage Project. And through that, we'll be able to collaborate and do a lot of things. Sister Antoinisha, who is our media director at the time, she just completed a course with us. I think it was 10 or 11 of us that went through an eight-day course, intensive. And we got so many skills that's going to empower us with being more vocal and more visible and creating better content as the years go by for our people, because the primary responsibility and the main reason why we are active right now is because we realize that as Gullah Geechee people, we have to be the ones. We have to be the ones who promote, preserve and protect our own culture. It has to be us. And those who have a hard on about it not being people from the corridor, it is people from the corridor, but it's people there and beyond. We Geechee without borders. What don't you understand? Many was one fambo. And so hopefully by the end of this conversation, we won't be having this discussion anymore. Hopefully those people have heard those rumors and they think that there's something illegal or suspicious about what we're doing, that we don't have a right to have elders, that we don't have a right to appoint a head on our body, that we don't have a right to be Gullah Geechees. See, that's the problem. That's what we're fighting for. You understand? We deserve to be respected. We put a lot of work in for our people. And we know who we are. And we can verify it to anybody who we are. We wouldn't go through all this faking it to not make it, because we're not making it. We're really just serving the people. You understand? And so I definitely want to shout out those other people who are not Gullah Geechees by lineage that play a very significant role in what we're able to do for our people. Some of our partners in particular, the Universal Negro Improvement Association and Rehabilitating Committee, 2020 is a very strong partner of us. They've been helping us along the way with resources, with consultancy. You know, we have a whole full body of elders within the UNIECL, and combined, they might have like 300 years of Garvey experience and wisdom. And so we always go to them and consult them because we're very clear that the Gullah Geechee identity is a race-first identity. It's a black identity for real. You know it because a book can't be no Geechee. They can be born in the corridor. They can talk the Geechee that some of the Geechee descendants can't talk. Mm-hmm. They can know how to make the straw baskets, the fanners, mm-hmm. you know, the sweetgrass baskets. They can make them, you know, they can learn our culture. They can never be us. And that lets you know right there that our ancestors knew that us was not just the culture. That us was the people. And that's what we're saying. That's what we're continually emphasizing.
Don't have culture without the people.
People produce the culture, man. People migrate and they take their culture with them and they evolve that culture and they adapt that culture and they apply that culture. And we did that as we migrated to New York. We did that as we migrated to Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., York, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Atlanta, L.A. As we scattered across the United States, we have our cultural heritage in our heads, y'all.
Look at the meringue.
We still cook the same, y'all.
Yeah, we do.
And we was called Geechee rice eaters and, you know, all this derogative stuff by our own black people. And that's why we start hiding our identity. That's why we start, you know, not wanting to be, you know, from down south.
Stigmatized.
Because of stigmatization, and we can be real about it. So some of our parents wasn't having that shit. Just to tell you straight up, some of our parents wasn't no punks. You weren't gonna call them no Geechee and then they fold and stop being Geechee. Mm-hmm. No, they're gonna show you how Geechee they is. And that's the kind of bloodline I come from. So that's the fire in my blood for this. You understand? This is the main thing for us to understand. I read about the biological composition, the genetic composition of Gullah Geechee people as compared to the average African Americans. They did a study in Africa, Mississippi, and other places, and compared their DNA to Gullah Geechee people in the corridor. They ain't never been out of there. They've been there 300 years straight. You understand? What's their blood like? And come to find out, those Gullah Geechees had the least amount of European in them. And it was through a man. It was rape. It was paternal. But it was the lowest in the country out of all the blacks. So we had more African genetics, more percentage of African in us in general than the average Black American.
Yeah, they say the average is what, 75%
you understand?
African?
It's true. We can't deny this stuff, man. It's trying to be honest about it. Yeah. And then on the same hand, you know, typically the European blood is higher than the Native American blood.
Well, a lot.
You understand? And it's diverse in other places. Sometimes in Virginia it was the white woman. But not, in other parts it was the white woman having babies to free blacks and all that good stuff. It was mixed. White parents with both sides. But in that corridor was predominantly white men raping our mothers. You understand? And the white percentage is lower than anywhere else outside of there.
Do you think it was
isolation? The Native American content is higher among Gullah Geechees than anybody else in the country. And it's not even more than 2%. Wow. So even to take and say, well, Gullah Geechees are Indians, you just said it. You just said Gullah Geechees are indigenous people. No, I didn't, just to make it clear. There are indigenous peoples and lineages, and even European people and lineages alive in most of our genetics. But we black people, we Africans. And we started off as Africans, and we remain Africans no matter what got added to it. And so that's the thing. Even genetically, we have the least amount of white blood and it was imposed by white men. And we have the most amount of indigenous admixture at the same time. If we can go from blood, we can also go to history of fighting wars together, history of fleeing slavery together, history of learning each other's languages, and smart information about healing, and things like that. We had a very up and down, side to side, sometimes rival, sometimes allied, sometimes they was our slave masters. But you won't find Africans enslaving indigenous Native Americans ever. So we have this dynamic with these people, and it's always been clear that we're us and they're them. Just because my sister marries a Chinese man and has a baby to a Chinese man don't make my whole lineage Chinese. And even that one ancestor you can name came from a predominantly African lineage. So you can't do that to your ancestors like that.
I say.
You understand? So I'll stop there. I really want to get that off, to get it out there, because I know this is being seen live. And I just want to thank my whole team, my whole community.
Yes.
Of course, I thank my mother for giving me the seeds, for making sure that I was proud of being a black man. That I knew that I came from where I came from. My mom didn't have to take us down south all the time. You know what I'm saying? She didn't have to care about where she came from. You know what I'm saying? She didn't have to pass on information that she heard from people born in the 1800s to me. And my sister, Dr. Felicia O.A. Dennis, is right here watching right now. This is my blood sister. We 13 months apart. You know what I'm saying? Same mama, same womb. So none of this is a gimmick. None of this is a game. I just really want to say that I appreciate all y'all for the support, for the belief in me as a leader to be the head on this body. I'm only 42 years old.
You were 38?
I didn't want it. I didn't want to be.
38.
I didn't want to be a chief. It's not my thing. But I was only 38 years old. I was like, no, man, it should be somebody older. It should be somebody in America.
Yeah.
So
you fought against it.
I fought against it, but at the time
they were like, who else fit past you?
So they wouldn't allow me to walk away from it, and I accepted it. And after that, I just said, well, I accepted it, so I gotta do it now. And this is what we're doing with it. So if you look back over the last 4 years of what has been done, whether it's Pisani, GNONA, GRMSL, it has been done with me serving as the third Paramount Chief of the nation of North America. Just like I'm also serving as the West African Ambassador of the UNIA-ACL. So, some people you say some people wear many hats, so to speak, but it's because leadership is in a crisis.
Man, right.
And some of us have to wear more hats than one. And that's why we're always recruiting and trying to get people involved, because we can get tired, we can get exhausted.
We can't do everything by ourselves.
And then if we fall out, who we gonna pick up? So it's always sincere when we're inviting people to join up and get involved, particularly with the Gullah Leone Union, man. We really making some dynamic moves here. It's only going to grow. This year, we're looking forward to getting 2 repatriate families. Shout out to the Exodus Alliance.
Yeah,
if you have a nation, you got to have allies. If you got a movement, you got to have comrades. You got to have people that you work with in solidarity. And I just really appreciate all y'all, man. My Facebook friends, people on Facebook watching this, man. Y'all inspire me. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I inspire you too. You know what I'm saying? My post typically is meant to educate you, or typically meant to show you provoke some thought, or something like that. But just keep you posted on what we got going on and what's going on around the world. Like for instance, it's Burkina Faso, Mali, and Guinea are all kicked out of the ECOWAS right now. So they're standing alone as a military power.
Wow.
And and Mali has kicked the French out. And they've changed the national language from French to Bambara. You understand? So they're dead serious about what they're attempting to do to get these French people out of Mali, a place where many of our ancestors came from, especially if we're Gullah Geechee.
I have that lineage.
Do you realize that it was the Mandinka people, the Manding people, who first cultivated the rice that we were stolen for?
Say that.
You realize that it was the Mandinka people who crashed the coast, running from the collapse of their empire in the interior, and produced the Mende, and produced the Vai, and produced the Timini. These people were Malians that was fleeing from the collapse of empire that stood for hundreds of years.
These are new identities.
These are new ethnic identities.
Post-white.
There's some of us who ancestors left Africa before these ethnicities existed, and we're DNA testing back to an ethnicity that your ancestor never existed to, never belonged to, in reality.
Yeah.
And so, there's a whole lot of things going on, but we're going to figure this thing out. Long story short, I want to thank my wife for sure, because the whole step from 2012, before I ever left America, this woman has been by my side. Sometimes she's had to nurse me back to life, and as I'm attacked, she's attacked, but she don't have the kind of mentality to start a fight. And she's always telling me like, yo, just don't worry about that shit. Or sometimes I'm like, yo, sometimes she's ready to go. She's ready to set it off. I'm like, yo, chill. You know, I'm telling her, chill out, yo. You know? And it's very important. It's very important that me and my wife have this relationship that's based on the cause that we both believe in and the identity that we share. Because it's indicative of what we all really are challenged to do in our own family building processes. We're not perfect by far, you know.
But we're genuine.
But we're genuine. And the thing is that you don't have to be perfect to be genuine. You just have to be honest and be serious. And that may take some learning and some discipline for some people. But, you know, over time, you'll get it. But for us, we just try to do it the best we can. And from our relationship, a lot of these things emanate. You know, a lot of these things are reflections of our ideals, things that we came up with, things that we called out to other people to join and assist in. And then, of course, they bring in their ideals, and it's a beautiful thing because that's what we're creating this for, not for me and my wife. We could be doing way different things with our lives. You know,
for real.
We could be over there with most of you guys and just rat racing and hoping that we can get to Africa and all that, but we made sacrifices as young people. I came here at 33 years old. As young people that understood that it's going to take young people, and that some of us are going to need to have enough time and enough capacity to capture the rest of us home. And so we look at it as our responsibility to be here and to help our people come home. And we've been doing that. So I honor my wife. I thank her very much for being my wife and being my partner and helping me understand things deeper in levels where I just never had experience in. You know what I'm saying? We're all flawed.
Likewise, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're all flawed. But we're a team. And you know, especially my family that really strongly supports their relatives. My sister, Dr. Felicia, of course, Baba, Roderick, aka Baba Rock. We also have
Sister Kimberly.
Okay.
Hey, sis.
Okay, yeah. And so who else we have? Oh, Baba Ajamu. He my cousin, but he don't want to say he my cousin. So I'm gonna count him too. You know what I'm saying? Who else? Who else from the bloodline? Who else is my family that is involved? I'll say Sister Lele. Yeah, Lele. She's my mother's godmother. You know. Yeah. So there's people who know me all my life, or my blood relatives, and everything I'm saying here, they can verify that I'm a real person.
And a real brother.
You understand? I'm not a fake or a gimmick. I'm a real person. And like I said, I don't need to be nobody's chief, but the people chose me to be that, and I just been trying to live up to it. And it's been crazy. And my family has been there to keep me up when I'm ready to go off, you know, to remind me what it is that we're doing, and things like that. So, what happened? Okay, and so to y'all too, in terms of the membership, you know who you are. You can go through, you know, Lola, Simbe, Daryl, Fogbo, Adima. You know, I can keep going and going. On to Indonesia. Still, brother Kenyatta. I just talked to you the other day, my brother. Bonnie, Barbara. You know, we have elders out there, William, who aren't necessarily all the way actively involved, but they're there. What about Ajamu Mansaray, the brother who, you know, he's down Savannah. Good brother. You know, and everyone else out there who really has been a part of supporting us. And also, I want to also make a definite appreciation for the people of Sierra Leone who have backed us and supported us and stayed on our side, even when people were sending emails to the government.
Right, y'all. They've been doing some crazy stuff.
Even when people were doing, like, look, quote unquote, agent provocateur, like snitch stuff, like, you know,
we got caught in the government office twice.
So, you know, that snitch thing, where people could literally go to their elders to contact our elders, and we could sit down and have a conversation about whatever problem they got.
We ain't got no problem.
Instead of doing that, they do slander campaigns and try to criminalize all of us by targeting me and making me the criminal. So if I'm a criminal, what is you?
Especially if you got ties to us. Especially if you ain't been doing one of them this stuff without us.
I just want people to know that it's awful gazy. So I support, and I definitely shout out to our supporters. People who like our posts, people who share our content, people who, when we say, hey, y'all, you know, it's harvest time, we need some help. You dig in your pocket, man. You put $10 there. Man, you don't know how much that shit means. Because I don't got money, yo. And I don't pay myself off of what I fundraise for the people. Do you understand? If I don't work for it, it's not mine.
Right.
I don't create any budgets absent of other people involvement.
Right.
So by the time we know how much we need, there's a whole process and a consensus. We're asking just for that. There's no extra $100 there that I'm going to put in my damn pocket. I work hard for my money, and I would never curse my legacy.
I should say that.
You understand? I would never do that for a little bit of fucking money. Just, you know, just to say that. So I want to speak for everyone else who's out here being repatriates and doing this or that. But our shit's squeaky clean. And I hope that this video goes far. I hope that even the people out there who've been trying to tear us down watch this video and understand that I've been wrong. I should have never done that to them people. Maybe they're right. Maybe we should all come together.
We've been advocating that from the start. Everybody who ever came in contact with us know that we always try to pull them into what we're doing or not something together. We're the ones that always were like that. The people coming being tribalists, coming doing all kind of weird stuff that we ain't never thought that African Americans coming back to Africa would be behaving. And you said something about being cursed. People got to understand we only got this one life to live. We only got this one life to live. And if you have children or you have family, when you die or whatever legacy you leave behind, you're going to be judged by in the end. Amen. Maybe it's a whole lot of stuff that's happening behind our back that none of us may know, but you know, and you know what you did. And then that's going to come back to you. It's going to come back to you.
Oh, for sure.
Your child going to be like, oh, my daddy was a jazz nigga. Oh, my God, he did this to these people. They ain't never did nothing to him.
Yeah, so come correct because it ain't over yet.
Because we young. We ain't old. We still on our early. We still got a whole lot of life left in us.
So hopefully, this message reaches those people.
Right.
And they can cease and desist.
Right.
As of now. You understand?
Yeah, moving forward.
There's been 4 years of absolute work. Not just by me. By many other people. Me being the chief is not me doing all the work. Me being the chief is being the head and leading the way and guiding the process. But I'm not a dictator. Thinking that attacking me is going to destroy everyone is wrong. You're just going to expose yourself.
Right.
There's those of us that you don't know because we're not loud. That know everything that I'm saying here already tonight in public. We've known it. We've monitored. We've watched you guys. We know your addresses. We know everything that we need to know. Because what you have been doing is criminal. What you have been doing is slandering my name. What you've been doing is internet bullying me. And threats,
all kind of crazy.
And I highly doubt if any of these things would be happening, we were face to face. And so what I'm saying is that once and for all, let me just kill all of it. I won't say anything about you guys. You guys keep my out your mouth. You can fill it in. Leave me alone. I represent my people. My people have no problem with me representing them. They chose me to.
Say that.
So why is people acting like I just created some big scheme?
And then put it to say I'm a king. What?
So I want.
You're the most humble person I ever met before in my life.
So I want that to be clear. Another thing I want to do is I want to call my supporters, my family, my friends. I'm always saying what's happening to me. But the people who know me for real know that I know I can bear it. It don't matter what it is, I can endure it. But there comes a point where I can bear it, but I won't allow you to stop this mission. Because the mission is bigger than me.
Say that.
So now, it's just becoming more of a serious situation. You know, at first it was kind of cute. You know, I can understand a little bit of, you know, like when you're coming up as an underground rapper and shit, you know, you have a little beef, little battles. I understand that. But come on, man, 4 years. Let's end this now. Let's end this now. Anybody who got a problem with being chief, you know, you don't have
Take it to the ancestors.
That's your business.
Yeah, that ain't got nothing to do with us.
But for those who are really out there genuinely seeking to connect with real Gullah Geechee people that are doing real international work and heritage work for our own people. You understand? Anybody. Y'all make sure y'all reach out to us directly. Don't listen to what people say about us. Because there is a lot at stake on this side. And if y'all get bamboozled, they're gonna burn the bridge down. And that bridge ain't never been built before. You understand?
And the people that
they're crossing the bridge and then burning it. So y'all on the other side need to think about, what they doing. So I definitely appeal to my people out there who definitely I know they got love for me, they got my back. I'll say it in the most vulgar, direct way because I can do that. Chief don't mean I'm perfect, don't mean I don't curse, don't mean that, you know.
It's not against your
If I'm your friend and I'm your brother, if I'm your chief, don't let these people attack me like that. Attacking me is attacking you. If I'm your chief. You cannot walk up on an African community and attack their chief.
Where?
Like what is being done to me. That me and my wife, even as we serve the Pan-African world from here, we have to constantly endure these idiots. And so I'm saying, yo, man, look what these motherfuckers are saying. And people just like it and share their comment. But very rarely have people say, yo, we need to investigate and see what's going on. Yo, you made a lot of accusations and people making accusations. Yo, what the fuck is going on? Let's see what's happening. If that happened before this, I wouldn't be having this conversation. You understand? So what I want to say is, I love y'all. Maybe there's some questions. If anybody has any
if y'all
questions,
have any questions,
if you have any questions, put them in the thing. This is already a 3-hour joint. It don't matter. We're running it right now. This is for the record. We just really pretty much having this conversation. But I don't know if anyone can come on. Are they able to
yeah, I guess
anybody want to come on? Anybody got something they want to say?
Yeah, let me put the copy the link.
If anybody got anything to say, now is the time.
Yeah, y'all can join.
I've been reading the statements, but I can't read them all as fast.
So,
anybody want to come on? Just
you have to have your face. You can't have a picture.
Yeah, make sure your face
is visible.
And shout out to Baba Chris. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I
Salute.
got these coming.
Salute. What's up?
Sister Lele.
Baba Chris is our national director for the Black Star Action Network International in the United States of America. And Baba Senghor Baye, who is the first assistant president general of the UNIACL, is our international ambassador for the Black Star Action Network International.
What you say, transparency over trust?
Yeah, transparency over trust, man.
That's our.
We family out here. Like, we have to be. Other people talking that shit up. Wasting time on social media, debating irrelevant stuff, trying to spark struggles between Africans and African Americans. So it's more difficult for us then. And the thing is that now is the time. You don't have to come to Africa and live here, man. But you can have a connection to the people here. Now, more than ever. So whatever kind of relationship you want, I encourage that you have it. But I'm telling you, some people don't want us to have it. There's some people that want to treat this like business. There's some people that want to treat this like politics, y'all. There's some people that they don't care about unity. They just care about their own self and their own lineage. That's it. They don't give a fuck about nothing else. And there's many of them. And I'm just saying it to be clear that we're not them. And those in our circle and those who are members of the Gullah Nation of North America, that ain't us. You understand? We are ready and willing to meet with anyone and discuss how we can peacefully resolve any issues. Always been down with that. But we are definitely saying cease and desist. And I'm calling for my friends and my family that if these people don't cease and desist in 2022, we need to handle them. We need to handle them in any way that's going to result in them ceasing to try to block this path right here that we've been building. It is not just me. And I should not be the only one getting hit. And there's no way that I will feel comfortable with this position at this level and I can be attacked by anybody at any level without it being some response from us collectively. Because I'm representing the collective. If I wasn't representing the collective and doing what I'm doing, there would be no basis for anybody attacking me right now. Me and my wife would be living peacefully in Africa, y'all. Mm-hmm. You understand?
Before we accepted, we had a lot of peace before we accepted the first person. For real. We was doing our work.
So today in Freetown, we had our third annual general meeting.
Yeah, we didn't have the
and
2020. We didn't have one.
Yeah, everyone was so excited that that we finally that there was going to be a commemoration for my 4-year.
Yeah.
Everybody, oh man, Chief.
Congratulations. And then we had our meeting on the same day. It was just like divine order.
So shout out to Mommy Cento Stevens.
That's why we all dressed up. We had a nice time.
Alfonso Stevens, Nathaniel Stevens. Who else was here? Yeah, Edna was here. Mm-hmm. Who else was here? Zachariah, Amara was here. Who else? Fidel. Mm-hmm. So we had our core team, Reverend Cisse. So we had our core team here today, man. We had a great dynamic discussion about the future for the GRMSL. And so we have report for GNONA. We have some updates for y'all in terms of the direction that we're going to be heading in here in Sierra Leone. How we're going to be playing our part with the Heritage Project, and we really want to do some tourism and some education programs, some Sali Salon, teach you different things about Salon, and integrate our people here into that. So it's not going to be me and Kenya all the time on.
Right.
You know, we need for other people for coincide now and show you, say, this here is not a one-man show. This here is not a dictatorship. This here is not a cultic group. You know, this here is a group of very intelligent people who play their own respectful roles within it. And when you attack one, you attack all. And when you assist one, you assist all. So we're our community. We're many roots, one family. That is our motto. That's what we live up to. That's what we push. And as terms of our Gullah Geechie, we're Geechie without borders. You can't put borders on my bloodline. What you talking about?
If you can't put borders on your African ancestry DNA test, how you gonna do that? All the way in Africa and you from America.
Exactly. It don't make sense.
It don't make sense.
But some people have tried to, belittle us with that argument.
Yeah. It's frivolous.
And so it's all good. I don't want to make it like the commemoration is about all the bad things that happen, all the bad guys. But I did want to show that you guys got an excellent overview. I've never given this detailed overview. I assure you that what I said is absolutely
we got a lot of receipts
verifiable.
Too.
I mean, we have receipts. We have emails from when we first was working with the monuments
for the citizenship. For people that want to keep saying we ain't.
People say wasn't involved.
We got it. So
we have the photos of taking Foday Ajamu to his place. We have inboxes and emails from him too. I have the same for Amadou. The whole argument that me and Amadou had in his group, I have it. I even shared it on Facebook at one point. The relationship between Lazaro Langley and Foday Ajamu is there. I mean, you can go find it. I'm not telling you anything that is not there publicly. But you didn't know that I was offered, what was it, $150,000 a year to function like basically a fucking spy. And I turned it down, and that's when all helps. That's when Harold changed. That's when he died. And then that's when people start targeting me.
And then this Foday Mansaray, y'all, just to go back to that. I did a little bit, once this Langley started doing this shit again, I went to go dig more and found that the dude served like 6 years.
He served his time
and he had just got, because this was 2020. So he had just got home like December 2019.
So these people was here. These fucking haters, man. These listen to me, man. Listen.
It's public record.
Listen. These fake people who claim to be our leaders that should be the first ones responding when a high value youth, a high value person comes to you and says, I want to serve, I want to work. You're supposed to be the first one to step up, especially if you're an elder. You're supposed to know better. Not us. You're supposed to know better. To turn that all the way around into an attack on me, whereas it's never been just me. It's so unrighteous. And for me, I think that what's going to happen after this call is that, after this video is that, for me, it's mask off. If you put my name in your mouth, I'm coming at you directly. You be ready. And if my community doesn't follow up, then I don't know who's with me and who ain't. Because it's been a long time we've tried to put elders committees together. Hey, where's the elders at? Can y'all contact Queen Quet and we have a conversation, see why she's telling people this about me? Nothing. She won't comply. We did it before, she won't comply. So she feels as though she can slander me through Facebook inboxes, get caught, get checked, get slapped with the cease and desist. We invite her to a mediation, and then she want to dictate how the mediation gonna go. So we stepped away from that. The cease and desist is where it's at. We're not friends. We're not neighbors. She's a Geechie. We're Geechie. We're doing our thing. She's doing her thing. So just to let people know that. It doesn't mean that we can't resolve whatever issues is there, because we never had the issue. We inherited the issue that must have been between her and Harold or something, or just us creating an organization or something. But by now,
how many? 7 years now.
and what she said was, she said this group is a fly, is a what you said?
Another fly by night.
A fly by night organization. Another group of people just trying to claim something and be something. That was 7 years ago, y'all. That was 7 years ago. If we haven't demonstrated that we dead serious by now, that we deserve the respect that we expect. This is gonna get real ugly, y'all. I really can't promise nothing to y'all in terms of me. And if I have to step down from the chieftaincy to whip ass, I will do it. And then y'all can figure out what y'all gonna do about the chief. Because there's no way that I will continue to take these attacks, and I'm a chief, and there's people relying on my leadership, and we're not attacking back those people who are attacking me. So that won't happen for another 4 years. Today that ends. And I thank everybody for taking time. I see a lot of people coming in, going off, coming in, going out, coming in, going out. There are some questions. I see that.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I see that there is a question from Baba Chris Waller. Says, tell us about the future goals and how the people can come and be blessed with the greatness of Salome, my brother. Well, we do all the time. This conversation really wasn't about that. You know, it's about reflecting on the 4 years that I've been the chief. And for me, basically, to state in public what I've done with this crown, what I've done, what have I done? What has it been like? What is the background of the organization? Mm-hmm. And so that's more what this was about. But I will answer and say that our future goals are to continue doing what we've been doing. We are expanding our Tools and Seeds program this year. We're seeking to do it in 2 new communities. Mm-hmm. And in the past, we've done crowdfunding like as you know, on need to basis. But this year, we actually want to try to get a set amount of money and say, well, we got $15,000, some shit like that, and we're going to basically distribute it between the 3 communities, and it's going to be community farming. So we're going to be doing Tools and Seeds in Sinihun in Gullah, mm-hmm. which is the village of Bendu Jabati, the mother who kept the song, the language crying song. She just left here like last week, visit us every time she comes to Freetown now. That's the mommy, man. We love her. Mm-hmm. Mommy Not Power. Mm-hmm. Very jovial, very bright spirit. I don't think she's been treated fairly, honestly. Mm-hmm. I believe that she's truly one of our icons that is being overlooked. And we was actually trying to help her get to America with someone who was saying they were going to bring her there, but things fell apart. People start acting like they controlled her, like they, you know, we had to check with them and check with this.
And
she was like, check with who, man? I'm ready to go. And we was like, all right, well, you know, whatever them people over there is talking about is what they talking about. So we're going to be helping her to start her Bendu Jabati foundation for women and children. Mm-hmm. And she'll be doing that to make sure that she's able to have an independent base, leaving a legacy institution, and you know, doing some of the things that she would like to do for her community. Mm-hmm. You know, while she still got time, and so we're working on doing that foundation and trying to get Tools and Seeds there. Another place, the Lebu is in Kinema. Our Secretary General, brother named Reverend Emmanuel Cisse, he's from there, and he's currently in the nomination for a chief event. So he's going to be becoming a chief there if things go right. Mm-hmm. But we plan to lead with Tools and Seeds. That's what we say. Mm-hmm. We plan to go and, you know, meet the people in that village and try to extend our program there. In Jamakoa, there will be the initiation of some commercial farming now. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be returning to our Gullah Leone Economic Development Cooperative model. So we're going to be bringing our people, now that we have more people, we have more experience, more opportunity, we'll be calling our people together again to develop this development cooperative, which would be a cooperative business collective comprised of our members and others who want to engage in business social venturing in Africa. Whereas we do the business, but it has a social cost to it, social venture. And we'll be able to tie that to the agriculture, light production, and things like that. We'll be able to create more than what exists. We'll be able to do that. And let me see what else, brother. Of course, we got tours going on.
Yeah.
We got a tour coming up, 7-day tour planned for March. March 11th marks the 230th year since the founding of Freetown, since our people arrived from Nova Scotia on 15 ships. And so even the Freetown City Council is going to be commemorating a whole week here for that. And we plan the tour for that 7 days. So it's out there. If anyone wants to come through, the tour, I believe, is $2,800. It doesn't include your air flight, but everything else is covered with that. And the reason why it doesn't include your airfare is because most people have some kind of hookup, and they feel more comfortable hunting and buying their own tickets for some reason. They don't mind you finding the place where they're going to lodge. They don't mind you finding a tour guide or a transportation company. But when it comes to that, people are very particular about their traveling, because you don't want me to charge you $1,200 for a ticket that you can get for $800, right? So we leave that to the people, but when you get here, the rest is covered. And we offer exclusive tours. Baba Chris, it's a real deal.
Sister Fino.
Yeah. So like that, we got that going on. Later on, the last week of April and the first week of May, we'll be doing a 2-country tour. We'll be doing actually a 7-day tour in Freetown. It'll be a Freetown historical tour to commemorate our 230 years. And then the second country and the second tour will be Monrovia and surrounding areas to commemorate the founding of Liberia 200 years ago. And so we'll be doing that 14-day tour. We have our partners down in Liberia that we're working out the details with now. And, that's what it's about. We've been able to connect with the Gullah Heritage Foundation, which is a group of Gullah people from Liberia who are very adamant, very happy about Gullah Geechee people making it back to Sierra Leone for ourselves. And they open the door and they want us to carry on to Liberia as well. And I think we might be looking to that as well. These countries are twins. This border is fake. They're all related. And the legacies, the histories are related. You don't get a modern-day Liberia without Exodus. You don't get a modern-day Sierra Leone without Exodus, without African people who were taken away by force, somehow, some way coming back voluntarily, because everyone who did come back volunteered except for those who came after. Even the Jamaicans came voluntarily. And the liberated Africans wouldn't have said no, not when they was on their boats headed to Cuba and they got rescued. They were ready to go wherever the hell they going to go. And Freetown became that melting pot of freedom. And so we have to really honor these societies and really get to know the different groups. It's not just about, some people hear Mende and come up my mouth a lot. But there's 17 different ethnic groups. You have Loco, Kano, Korenko, Mandingo, Fulani, Fula, or you have, what else you got? You got Shabro, you got the Kru people are here, you got the Vai, you got some Gola here, you got some Gizi here, Susu, Yalunka. So it's not just Mende.
The two largest.
But the Mende and the Tindi are the two largest groups. And they make up like over 60%. So over 50% of the country is Mende and Tindi. Tribes. And that's why people typically talk about it like, oh, that's the only 2 tribes in the whole country. And they're not. There's other cultural heritages and other people. Chad Bozeman, another South Carolina brother. He was he tested DNA. He came back to be a Limba. The Limba are the first people in this country. They're the only ones who don't have a history of migration. And people don't know that. And they live up in the mountains. They like mountains. It wasn't just Europeans who like mountains. Some people felt like that was where they were safest at. And especially during the wars and the migrations and all the things that took place that made people begin to pack up and move from where they were from. People who had lived in the Savannah and the Sahel for thousands of years packed up and moved to Sierra Leone. People who had lived in Senegal for thousands of years, they ended up in the rainforest of Liberia. This is what we got to understand about where we come from. We were already a migrating population in Africa when they took us. That's what made us vulnerable and easy for the take. Everyone didn't want us to be settled where we arrived. And so we got to understand that. I think that's some things that we got going on, brother. Hopefully you'll be over here soon. And I'm looking forward to seeing my sister again, my cousin again. You know, some new people we definitely got to get into this show over here. Baba Senghor. You know, shout out to our comrade, our good brother Shakara. He'll be here in March. For his first trip to Salon. He just came out of Ghana. And so we're just building, y'all. This big we got going on. We decided holistically that in 2022 we are coming out. And not only coming out, but we're coming out swinging. And we're coming out as a collective. We're not coming out as just Gullah Geechees or just Pan-Africans. No, we're coming out as African people, man. It's really time for liberation. And we're coming out to declare what it is that we plan to do within that process, respectfully. And so, you know, we're focusing more on sustainability, organizational sustainability. You know, we want to get stronger partnerships. We really want to connect with other Gullah Geechee groups and other Gullah Geechee movements, individuals. We want to be able to learn a lot about our culture that a lot of us didn't have opportunity to learn, including myself, from those who had the privilege of learning it. You know, and exchange that as much as possible with our people here. Believe it or not, Africa is also involved in the same process. There's those who have retained the culture and those who haven't. There's Mendes here who can't speak Mende.
Y'all be surprised.
There's Mandingos here who haven't been in the Mandingo village yet.
Members that can't speak Lemba.
So it's not just us, y'all. It's,
living right here with us.
Sankofa is a universal process that all Africans have to go back through. We have to return and fetch it and bring it back into the future, use it for our future. And so, you know, I'm just looking forward to the rest of this year. I think 2022 is going to be a hell of a year.
Yeah, we got a lot planned.
And like I said, whoever's coming through, we're waiting for y'all. And y'all can check out some of the shows that we got that's out right now. We just relaunched the Exodus Alliance show, which is called Exodus Radio.
On YouTube.
We just launched that again. Myself and Brother Shakara, who serves as the PRO for Pisani, will be you know, handling that along with my Musu right here, my Kenya right here. Musu means the wife of the chief in Mandingo. For y'all who don't know, Musu, Mensa, Musu. Chief means Mensa. So I say chief for understanding.
Musu means like.
But in my Mandingo tradition, it would be Mensa, Foday Ajamu. And I'm a Mansaray. My family are the descendants of the Mansas, the actual Mansas. So they didn't have a surname, they had a title. And so even though I say Chief Foday Ajamu Mansaray, that's the English version of Mansa Foday Ajamu, which would be the correct Mandingo way of putting my name. And Kenya, of course, they don't have a name that says Queen, but they have the like the first lady almost. You know, they have the Musu. So you have the Mansa and the Mensa Musu, M-U-S-U. So if you ever catch me calling Kenya Musu, that's what it is. I'm addressing
a lot of my
right.
handles, like my TikTok handle or my Clubhouse handle, it'll be Musu Malinke.
Yeah. So that's why some people see us using words and terms and don't understand, but it's because we're also going through our own reintegration as we're, you know, learning and teaching and helping other people. There's spiritual things that happen. There's cultural things that happen. We just came from a ceremony in Kenya's village. Kenya was adopted as Jamakoa. In fact, they gave her a Mende name called Kenyiva Koa Tibi. Tibi is a founding surname. But of course, that's my queen, so she's Mansaray.
Yeah.
And but she's, her and others are in this Tibi house. And of course, I'm an in-law all day. But they just had a ancestral feeding and libation called Tawahum. And they haven't had it in 25 years because of any number of things, the war, Ebola, whatever. But this year they had it. And I learned where the ring shout comes from.
Right.
And I know where the fire dance is now.
Right.
And I know what it means when they say go to the bush. I know what it means to stand in a poor bush. I know what it means to have society. I know what it means to have libation poured and eat the sacred rice, eat the blessed rice, and tell the spiritual leader what it is that I desire. I know what that is. I've seen the small kids traditionally fight for one bowl of rice because you got to be a warrior to eat.
Yes, say that.
You know what I'm saying? And so we went there and we did this. We had Sister Yomi, Kenya, Mama Yomi. It was beautiful, y'all. It was beyond expectations. And I would love for us African Americans to do something similar, because many of our people, especially in South Carolina, from the Denmark Vesey case all the way up to the emancipation, we could not have independent black churches in South Carolina. And during the Civil War, we couldn't have church, or we couldn't have spiritual gatherings. But as you know, before they begin to Christianize us, we still maintain our tradition. This is where we get our praise houses from. This is where we get our African traditions, like ring shouts and things like that from. There was pre-Christianity for us. That's what we was already molding and shaping for ourselves, that hoodoo and all that. Then they came with the Christianity because they felt as though it would produce better contented slaves. But it was because we had already been a certain kind of enslaved African that they disagreed with. And that was the era of the praise houses and the ring shouts and the hoodoo and all that stuff. Which, so then later came this old Christianizing of our people. And not to knock Christian people, but that's exactly how it happened. But in that dark period from Denmark Vesey and Gullah Jack, there was a man named Gullah Jack, who was a hoodoo priestess, who organized the enslaved Africans on the plantations around Charleston into the rebellion. Yeah, Denmark led it, but he couldn't do it without Gullah. Gullah Jack was the one who organized the Gullah Geechee people. Yeah, he wasn't no Christian. He was hoodoo. And so they banned black people having their own leaders in their own churches, and they forced them, if they was going to be religious, they had to be with a white preacher, and they probably had to be segregated, right? So during the war, a lot of our people never fled. They never joined the war, joined the army. 190,000 out of 4.5 million black Americans even fought in the Civil War. Wow. I know I have 3 ancestors within that 190,000. So it wasn't all of us that fought for all of us. It was only 190,000. Just like usually it's only a little bit of us to fight for all of us. But the majority of the people didn't leave their plantations. Their plantations were abandoned by the men and their sons. And they was left with misses and the elders and things like that. A lot of them took off to the swamps. A lot of them marooned during the Civil War. And they marooned around swamps or in bushes. And they're going to have these churches called brush harbors. Bush harbors. And they had them during slavery. And some would say that the Haitian Revolution sparked out of a bush harbor. Because it was a secret, spiritual, religious community meeting that happened away from the slave master in the bush that resulted in revolution. And our people who didn't get to the other side of the Union, the lines, separated ourselves, ran to them bushes, marooned ourselves, and organized bush harbors. And after that, we came out, and those was our family church, what do you call it? Congregations. Like for my family, we came out of a bush harbor. Out of the bush harbor into a church. So we already had our spiritual leaders. We knew who was going to be what, but we had it on the hush hush. So now we able to come out and have a church. And we went into the AME denomination, African Methodist Episcopal. Yeah, African. And my family actually founded the Emmanuel AME Church of Cope, South Carolina, which is like a sister church of Emmanuel Church in Charleston. To throw you back to the whole conversation where my grandmother was born in Middleton, and there was Middletons killed in that thing. You understand? So, Pinckney, the Pinckney people, Simmons. So these were lineages that I know from my genealogy that may not actually even be related, but raised the concern. And so, all that to say is that we have always been a spiritual people, and we've always tried to be as self-determined as we can about how we organize ourselves, regardless of what Europeans say we impose. It's always been our thing to organize ourselves. And so in the spirit of self-determination, in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, you know, many roots, one fambo, one God, one aim, one destiny, I am the third Paramount Chief of the Gullah Nation of North America. And I thank all y'all for the time that you spent here tonight listening, the questions that were asked. I think my sister is saying what is needed at this point from your tribe of supporters. Man, I just need y'all to really step up. First of all, I would say visit the GullahLeone.org website and become a member. It's free to become a member. We do issue certificates of people who can prove that they're verifiable Gullah Geechees. The certificate has your name or your handle or whatever you use. It'll have the counties that you connect with as well as the lineages that you represent. And of course, it has the Gullah Geechee, the Geechee Experience flag. And I should have said a lot more about Geechee Experience because I really appreciate how they got it going on in the corridor. But they did a census with their following, and people agreed that, you know, there needs to be a Geechee flag for Geechees Without Borders, basically for all of us, the people. And you know, they set it up. You know, they set it up, man. They made sure that we could have a flag. And it wasn't that the Gullah Geechee Nation didn't have a flag, but that the Gullah Geechee Nation was being treated like a private government, like a private organization. And this flag was just for the people of the culture. And we embraced it. That's really what we're about. So even slammed in the middle of your certificate is that flag. I would say join up. I would say those of you who want to make a financial contribution, you know, go to the website. The information for how you can make a contribution to the development fund is there, and whatnot. So another way, spread the word. You know, share the information. Make sure people know who we are and what we're doing. That helps us combat the people who are putting out slanderous things, and they're really nobodies to me, you know, but it will help to have more of us talking about GNONA, more of us sharing our stories, you know, more of us really stepping forward and being the ambassadors that we all naturally are anyway for the culture heritage that we inherited, and whatnot, you know. I also would like to see that our supporters, you know, our tribe step up, man. You know, let's organize. Let's see what we can do to organize some trips to Sierra Leone. Let's see what we can do to organize some trips to Liberia. You know, let's see what we can do to tap into this tourism market, because it's an opportunity that will bridge the gap, bring our people into contact with the grassroots here, and at the same time generate enough resources, some money, you know, building nation building. I ain't talking about money yet, but we need resources. And tourism is something that we can do together, even under the Gullah Economic Development Cooperative, which would be collectively owned by those who join and own shares. And one of the businesses that we go to organizing trips. You know, Sierra Leone is rising as a destination. More people are seeking to come here. And more people are even moving here. And, you know, the government has given 150 citizenships in the last 2.5 years, 3 years. So Salome is not a playful place. I really encourage people to come through. and more preferably, come through with us. You know what I'm saying? Come through with us. We'll show you the right way. So I would say that right there, little sis. You know, y'all can spread the word. Y'all can, you know, break some bread if you got it. You know, help us out over here. Make sure that we strong. Make sure we represent the tribe strongly, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't let these haters isolate us. You know, speak up, speak out, represent the culture. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would say to my tribe. And just know that I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? No matter what your ethnic group is, we're gonna build this legacy together. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you too. It's bigger, you know, it's about all of us. So, you know, please pin your way to donating to this video. Okay, I have Kenya do that as well. Baba Senghor says, Chief Ambassador of West Africa, all Africans, of the government of the UNIA ACL, RC 2020, Garvey's institution, just so y'all can get that right, since you ain't never heard of the UNIA sometimes. Marcus Garvey founded the UNIA in 1914 in Jamaica. In 1916, he was in America. He built the largest all-black Pan-African organization ever in the history of our people. And they did it a certain way. They organized a provisional government in 1920. They had 20 to 25,000 Africans from all around the world attend a single conference in New York. And they elected Marcus Garvey the first provisional president of Africa. And these people were from divisions of the UNIA all around the world. The UNIA had members everywhere, millions of members. And the delegates to that convention were representing all of those millions when they said Marcus Garvey is our provisional president. If he's the provisional president of Africa, then it should be clear that the UNIA was being established to function as a provisional government for free Africa. This was at a time where Africa was still colonized, but not only was it still colonized, but people were beginning to fight the struggle for national liberation. And the ideals of the UNIA inspired every genuine Pan-African leader since its movement basically was destroyed by the federal government and the same kind of Negroes that keep attacking me. You understand? Same kind of coons. Same kind of people that make a thing to attack the brothers that are race men and the sisters that are race women because of their own contradictions and their own intimate relationship that they have with the book world, the Europeans, the white men. Now, you can add the Chinese there and add other people there now, but the fundamental contradiction is with the white people, and we can never confuse that. They still have not given us justice. We're still fighting for freedom. And so I don't think that we have a bunch of talk with them people. You understand? But some people like to bring them around and include them. And, you know, I think that, you know, they can help us, but they can't join us. That's what Malcolm said, and I believe it works best that way. If they want to help, they can, you know, leave it by the door and walk away with no strings attached. And don't try to control anything. Don't appropriate my culture. Back the fuck up, you know? And that's really where we at with this right here. So the UNIACL is inspiration. And I remember when we first created the Constitution, it was the UNIA Constitution that we modeled at. We looked at that, and then we looked at the chiefdom system, and we created a blend of the UNIA system and the Sierra Leone chiefdom model. So even the GNONA system is modeled off of the UNIA and the Sierra Leone model. For those who didn't know that, because I'm a UNIA member, I've been. And so this is, you know, similar things. He says, you've absolutely demonstrated positive leadership. Thank you, Baba. Sister Queen Kenya,
thank you.
You know African women rule in 2022 and beyond. Together you are awesome and loaded with blacktricity. To God be the glory. Bless you both. Listeners, take heed. Let's all get to work. And that's what it's all about, Baba, that work. So again, y'all can tune into our shows. We do have also a African Women's Empowerment Network
Yeah,
show
we just had our first show.
every Saturday. Every last Saturday of the month.
No, Sunday.
Every last Sunday. I'm sorry. You can get a dynamic show of sisters really showing real African sisterhood, man. Talking about the issues. Sister Leah, Sister Victorious, Sister Nyanda. Man, we got a team of sisters. Kenya here in Salon, Victorious down in Ghana. Leah's up in Senegal, and the Honda's up in London, y'all. And we definitely got to get more sisters in the diaspora, not just the United States. When I say diaspora, I'm talking about the United States. We need to get our people involved in that, because I believe that the women have a key. They have the answers to a lot of this stuff, but we need to be able to fast track and facilitate bringing them together.
Absolutely.
And the men need to encourage that, and the men need to, after the women are strong, follow suit so that we can defend what the women have created. You understand? They're not following behind us on our mission. No. My mother was a farmer, and I remember that she used to plant garden in the backyard, and I used to go down on my hands and knees and pull out the weeds every once in a while. She'd be out there telling me, and she basically, I understand that the men are to be the fence to the garden. I understand that the men should weed out anything threatening the growth of the garden.
Oh, that's a good one. I say.
And I understand that. I understand that any critters or rodents that want to get to the garden, they have to go through the fence. And that's the man. That's the man's primary responsibility. Before my wife takes a punch, I need to eat a knuckle sandwich. Do you understand that? That's what we need to understand about manhood. You're not going to walk up and just slap a Chinese man's woman. Even his little bony ass going to whip ass.
Or try to.
So we got to get back to our manhood. And the only way we can do is by following the steps of our women. Only they can tell us how best we can service them. Only they can help us understand what we need to be defending. You understand? And so we're about that work. That's what it's all about. Y'all ain't down with I win? Check it out. Kenya will definitely give you the link up.
Yeah.
And then the other show is the Fort March show. We haven't started yet. And we're waiting for February 19th, which is the 10-year anniversary since the launch of the signing. We'll be having a panel discussion. I'm inviting Singor live and direct. I would love to have you there. But we're going to be having a discussion that's going to be called the Black Struggle, Past, Present, and Future. It'll be a panel discussion forum. We'll be talking about aspects of the struggle, open dialogue, nothing real meticulous or intellectualized. Just some good brothers having some good conversations, some good sisters having some good conversation together. And we'll be reflecting on the 10 years since the launch of Basani. And Basani launched with the Black Star Past, Present, and Future event in Tampa, Florida, on the same day a decade ago. And we launched with two honorary guests. One was Elder Harold Hillary, Black Panther Party, BLA, bona fide OG, came to show support for a political prisoner. And, my little bro, Malcolm Shabazz, the late grandson of Malcolm X. We pulled that off, and Basani was launched with that team, as well as even my ex-wife, Yapo. There was another brother named Crown Dion, who lives in St. Petersburg, Florida. And just so many other people. Kenyatta was there. So many other people. My brother, right. Eddie Kane, Grump, he was there. He moved all the way from Pennsylvania to Tampa with me. My son, Quazil, he played a very critical role. I remember he was very active in organizing, wanted to be part of it. Stepdaughter, everybody was really played a role in making that happen. I can never claim credit for any of this on my own. I can tell you I started that. I founded that because it's true. The idea started in my head, but then after that we had to turn it into something. But I never take full credit for everything, and it'd be disingenuous, it'd be dishonest, it'd be fake, it'd be false. Many people have played roles. We've all put some sacrifice into this, and so make sure that you tune in for that. So we have the Fort March show, the Island show, and the Exodus Alliance show.
And the Gullah Leone show.
And the Gullah Leone show. So we have 4 shows right now to make sure that we're more visible, we're more vocal. People can reach out to us if you want to be involved in the show. We encourage people to watch the shows, to participate, leave your messages, contact us by email. Just take us as your own family, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we was really here to do something negative, then it would be already done. But the struggle continues. And 2022 ain't gonna be no joke. We need machines in the farm. We need to expand the farm to 2 different villages. We have a women's affairs committee now.
We have a medical mission.
We have a medical mission. We're actually adopting the village. We're actually adopting the chiefdom now and giving them a CBO and their own accounts, so that now we can operate as partners. It's no longer, oh, y'all 30 members of us. No, we're now teaching them how to organize. We're now going into the sustainability of this thing. And so just know that we need y'all more now than any other year before. And, you know, y'all hold your heads out there, man. COVID ain't been no joke. You know, Biden ain't even trying. You know, it's just bad. It's just bad. Our people are suffering, even in the diaspora. And our people in Africa need to understand that more. Understand that even as we come, even if we have money or a good job, we come from families and communities that are being destroyed right there in America. And so that way, we know the best way to help each other on both sides. So with that, I say, I share. I really appreciate it. You know, it's 4 hours, y'all.
Man.
But
and y'all kept being consistent in
it's almost
the
4 hours.
viewers.
It's almost 4 hours, but it's a much needed conversation. And I almost wanted it to be like a bunch of us here, and I thought that's what it was going to be. And I'm glad I had opportunities to talk, just to explain from my perspective as your 3rd Paramount chief, the brother who you know, the brother who you trust, the brother who you met, that you know this the real deal. You know, Paramount chief, but I ain't no big-headed nigga. You know, y'all put me here, y'all keep me here. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's all love. We about to plug out. We about to tell y'all good night. Many Roots One Fambo. And you know, y'all just continue to follow us, man. Just let people know, man, if they Gullah Geechee, they can join. If they Pan-Africans, they can join. Don't matter, get in where you fit in. As you see, we're not sticking to Sierra Leone. We're moving other places too. We gotta hit Liberia next. We're looking at hitting all the countries with Gullah Geechees that have ancestry too. So this movement is not just for Sierra Leone. We plan to get strong enough here and then expand. And just before we go, our answer, my sister said, how much for the machine, for the farm? The cost vary. We want to get chainsaws so we can do clearing that won't break people's backs out there with axes. We want to be able to get some processing machines as well as some tractors. You know, some tractor machine. We don't have a vehicle here on the ground. We would like to be able to secure a vehicle this year for the company. Every time we go somewhere, we got to use public transportation. It stops us. So if you know people out there who have vehicles that they would like to donate to a noble cause, we definitely could use that. Tractors, you know, people who are farmers, people who got John Deere sitting around that they can contribute to a cause in Africa, tell them to hit us up. That's why we got a 501c3. They can get a tax exemption for that. You know what I'm saying? If you go to a hardware store and you know you tell them your cause and they say, all right, no doubt, you need those things. Well, I'm gonna give you a $300 voucher to get what you need. You can get that voucher, and it's still a 501c3 from the Gullah Nation of North America 501c3. Now we didn't want to get incorporated, and we only incorporated so that we can do this for our people, so we can give you a tax exemption when you contribute.
Right.
We'll also be, I always say we're all grind, no grants. And that's true. That's our foundation. This year, we will be putting together our development team and seeking grants. So Felicia will be talking about more of that, and I'll keep you posted. There's a lot of things that people can do, but we got to go. We love y'all, and we'll talk to y'all very, very soon. Many Roots, One Fambo.
Many Roots, One Fambo. Thank you, family. Thanks for joining us and rocking it out with us. And once again, I just want to have everybody, if you can, in the comments, just show some love to Chief. He done rocked out 4 years through it all and still on top, and we still working. We had a very successful meeting with our members today, just commemorating our 1 year overview from last year to this year. So if everybody can just go ahead and say, happy anniversary, Chief. Many Roots, One Fambo. I stand with Chief. Whatever you want to put in the comments, go ahead and do that and just show some love, and you know where to find us. Again, Many Roots, One Fambo.
We love y'all.
Geechee Without Borders.
Geechee Without Borders.
Yes.
Leone Union, Glue.
Love you,
know what
bro.
I'm saying? GNONA, Gullah Nation North America, Black Star Action Network International, Basani, UNICL, RC 2020.
Yes, I went. I mean, we just affiliated with so many
Exodus
different
Alliance,
things.
you know, Made in Africa Project,
Mhm.
you know, Sankofa Project.
Mhm.
So you ain't dealing with no playful people. I just really had to get this all off my chest tonight, and whatever come back from it, I know y'all got my back. So let's go. All right. Love y'all.
Love y'all, family. One Fambo.